In Marshfield. It's our high school football preview program this evening on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and on ZaleskiSports.com. Along with Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer, I'm Gene Delisio, and good to have you with us this evening as we preview the 2023 high school football season in Central Wisconsin. A star-studded cast of football coaches from throughout Central Wisconsin will be on hand this evening to talk about their seasons, their conferences, and their play for the coming year. Our first guest is all set to go. Let's turn things over to Jason Zaleski for a quick introduction. Jason?
Yeah, thank you, Gene, and thank you for everybody for turning out to Nuts Deep 2 here in Marshfield for this 2023 Football Coaches Show as we, again, as Gene said, look to preview a number of upcoming schools and their football teams, and we start first with Spencer Columbus and head football coach Jason Gorst. Coach, just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football and what keeps you coming back every year.
I think this is probably going into year 13 as a head coach for me. I think it's a combination of the camaraderie with the guys, opportunity to have an impact on young men, and then love the sport of football, the combination of, the physicality of it along with the intelligence needed with the X's and O's. It's a real fun sport, and I've been very blessed to have had this opportunity for so many years.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Jason. We'll turn it back to Gene and Larry.
Well, Coach, let's talk first of all about your season from a year ago. Disappointing season for Spencer Columbus football. Tell us your thoughts about what went on and how you tried to improve from last year.
Yeah, it was overall a tough season. I think tough for all of us to go through that together. We had, a number of things happen. Some unfortunate injuries, things like that derailed things, and then we didn't perform as well as we would have liked to either. So I do think that there was, lessons learned, and I think there was fires lit with a number of different people. I thought our guys responded pretty well in the off season with everybody who's returning as far as weight room attendance goes and things like that was significantly up. We've made us kind of sit back and take a look at ourselves and think about what are the things that we're doing well and what are the things that we need to change. And so we've had a little bit of change in the program too, just in our approach to things and different things we'll be doing. So, I think for everybody is a good long, hard look in the mirror. And, credit to our guys, that they worked out pretty hard after the fact and are definitely excited to try to get that taste out of our mouth.
And you've had so much success at Spencer Columbus football over the years. That had to be kind of difficult situation to go through last year.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough season. I think it was, like I say, tough for the players, tough for coaches, tough for families, everybody involved with it. So not something that we want to make a trend by any means and whatnot. So we have to work real hard and, like I say, look in the mirror and figure out what are the things we need to do better. And that starts with me. What are the things I need to do better as a head coach and areas I need to grow in to get better because we can't let seasons like that become acceptable for us.
Tell us about your scrimmage this weekend.
Scrimmage, I think it finished stronger than it started. Stanley Boyd got after us pretty good early on. It kind of hit us in the mouth. I was impressed that we got better throughout the day. We still have a lot of work to do. We're a pretty young football team this year. So there's a fair amount of mistakes being made and whatnot yet right now. So we're nowhere near in the form we'd like to be. But also just coming in from practice, really enjoyed our practice session tonight. I think the guys are ready to get after the types of things that didn't go well on Friday and just try to improve upon those. So walked out, we had I think one minor injury on the day. So that's always important coming out of a scrimmage, relatively healthy as a team. And we definitely know we have a laundry list of things that we need to work on to become a winning football team.
Well, tell us about the upcoming season, some expectations or hopes that you have for this ball club this year.
Yeah, we are really in a day-to-day mode right now. It's how can we get better today, and once that day is done, how can we get better tomorrow? And that's the focus, and one aspect of the game at a time, whether it's how we block buck to how we defend trips to how we're efficiently we're running our special teams, whatever it is, we're just trying to hone in on small things because I really do believe that football is a sport where the small things do matter, and you have to do all those little things right. So we're just taking that type of approach to it. Where we just have to find a way to get better each and every day at various aspects of the game as we prepare for real life competition here.
All right. Anything else that you guys have?
Well, you mentioned the success that you've had, back in the, before last year. How much harder is it now as you as a coach to come back here now and get up to that level again?
We're excited. I guess excited is the word that comes to my mind. I think we've got a whole coaching staff of guys that are really, wanting to get after it and having the off season, put in a lot of time there. And then, like I say, with the players too, really just enjoy working with the kids. They're working very, very hard right now, asking all the right questions, correcting mistakes when mistakes are made. So, it's definitely a challenge, but one I think we're up for.
What about that conference you're in? That's a challenge.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, it's a very good football conference, top to bottom. And a lot of teams will look at that top, and you're looking at state caliber teams and Amherst, Stratford, Shiocton, teams like that. But it really does go top to bottom because WIAA Fremont is a team that's on the way up right now. Wittenberg Burnhamwood's been very, very good lately. So. Real tough conference, I think, through and through, and a tough schedule, and then we have a tough non-conference schedule too. So we know we have our work cut out for us.
Now, I know sometimes they say the better the competition, the better you get. Do you think that's?
Yeah, I think it's forced us to look at things a lot differently. It's a conference that's heavy in passing, on a week-to-week basis, and so we've had to make modifications with that on the defensive side, and then also somewhat on the offensive side as an answer to that. So we're looking at some different things there, and like I say, it is a quality conference with quality coaches and quality football players, through and through.
Jason, tell us, it's kind of a two-part question, but I'll ask them separately to you. Tell us a little bit about community support and how you value those members of the community, the families, and then your expectations of that community support throughout the season.
Yeah, I think our community's been fantastic. They're very supportive. It starts with a parent group that's just really, really great to work with, and doing all those little types of things, team meals and stuff like that for the games. And then from there, it really does expand into the community. The people showing up on Friday nights to cheer us on, the people supporting us in fundraisers and those sorts of things. So, again, we've been very blessed and fortunate to have, I think, very strong community support my time here.
And then the second part of that is with the co-op. So you blend in another school that's kind of got its own community. Yet during football season, you're able to get both of those groups to work together. Talk about kind of the history of the co-op.
Yeah, history of the co-op, I mean, it's 22, 23 years or so. The co-op's been going on. I would say it's one of the strongest, if not the strongest in the state, and had, a pretty good track record of success. And there was a lot of people that, before my time that really established that. And we're carrying on the torch with that. So overall, it's been a fantastic thing for, I think, everybody involved. I think when you talk about, our alumni and people who graduate, I was just at the Columbus Golf outing this weekend and talking to some old football players and stuff, and they're reliving their glory days and whatnot. It was fantastic, and so overall, it's been a real great thing. We've seen great support from both schools throughout it, and that coming together. There's certainly some challenges that can come with it sometime, but nothing that can't be overcome when you're looking at what we're trying to accomplish together collectively.
One of those old football players that wasn't at the golf outing on Sunday was Hunter Lipke.
Yep.
He got his first carries as an NFL football player. Tell us about kind of the pride of those moments and how you help players like that.
Hunter's just a great young man and a great individual, and I think all the accolades that he has earned, he deserves. Everywhere he's gotten in life, it's due to his work ethic, it's due to his character, it's due to the way he carries himself. And at this point, we're all just fans. I keep hearing the saying, well, we might not have Cowboys fans. We have a Cowboy fan, here in central Wisconsin. But no, we're all very, very proud of Hunter. And for as great of a football player as he's even a better man. Just real impressed with everything he's doing, and it's sure fun to watch.
Coach, how about some of the young men coming back to your ball club this year and their expectations for the season?
Yeah, we've got, I think Landon Beslick is a name that really stands out. He's really done a lot to kind of rework his whole body in the off season and worked out hard, and it definitely shows. I think he's dynamic and a kind of a different athlete. And he goes, 6'4", 210. We've not really had that type of a body frame much before. So I think he's done a nice job, and we're going to utilize him in a lot of ways. I think Cole Hilgeman's another leader of this team, another tall receiver. and that's not something we've typically had a lot of. So we're hoping that we can do some damage with those guys there. We've got some young kids playing too. We're excited about some of our sophomore guards, Sam Helgestad, Mason Deeringer, have been pretty impressive so far. Guard play is very, very important with what we want to do. Some new additions to the team, Logan Ehlert and Cal Burkhauser, a very good athlete from both Spencer and Columbus coming out, and that's always exciting. They're seniors, but picking up things fast. Cal did have a little bit of a history with football, so he knows what he's doing. Just a number of other guys, Jay Zahn, Gage Young, kind of in the trenches there. I think overall, working and doing a pretty good job as well. So we just have to keep competing, keep looking to build upon things, and just see exactly, where all that will take us.
Any areas that you think might be strengths on the ball club this year?
I think our defensive line has been pretty impressive thus far. We've been repping another senior, Matt Latham, there, along with Jude Besser and Gage Young, and they seem to be a very dynamic, athletic defensive line. I would say early on that seems to be a strength, and then on the offensive side, like I mentioned, our guard play we've been pretty happy with thus far. We're pretty young there. We've never started 2 sophomores at those positions, but we've been pretty impressed with those kids so far.
Can you address, Coach, the influence of programs like Amherst and Stratford in your conference? And Larry did touch on this a bit earlier with one of his questions, but what does it mean in your conference to know you got a couple of powerhouses there, and of course your program is pretty close to them as well, but knowing that you have to rise to that occasion virtually every week?
Yeah, it is tough, and we have the ultimate respect for programs like that. We've played at a high level before, and obviously not quite as high as they've gotten to, but we know the type of work and dedication that takes from their players to their coaches to community support. It all goes in there. So we have the ultimate respect for programs like that. Right now, last year we were not competitive with teams like that, but it is definitely a goal that we want to get back to that point where we're playing in 4-quarter football games and scrapped and clawing to win against teams like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it should be a good year for Spencer Columbus. How about some other areas that you really want to touch upon for this year?
Overall, been real happy with, like I say, the guys' attitudes, and that was one of the things that could have, coming off of a tougher year, you could have had some struggles with that, and we really haven't. The kids have been awesome, really working hard, very, very coachable. Tonight, it was refreshing just coming into practice, and they knew what they did wrong on Friday, and the types of things that they needed to correct it, and we've been having a lot of talks about leadership and character and those sorts of things, and just growing in those areas. We've been doing a book study together as a group, reading The Twin Thieves by Steve Jones, and the kids have really gotten into it. I've had a couple moms comment. They're like, walked downstairs and saw my son reading a book in August, so that's a cool thing. But no, we've been reading, talking, and just trying to all grow together. That's kind of one of the themes, I guess, here is we all know we have a lot of work to do. You have to look in the mirror. It always starts with yourself, and just continue to grow as people.
Mm-hmm. How about your coaching staff for this year?
Yeah, real good one, actually. Ironically, the first time in my career I've ever had the same one 2 years in a row. So I don't know what that means or what that says, but we got Eric Stratman calling the defense. He does a real fantastic job. Nick Vigut's been the mastermind in our weight room and has really worked to have kids make over their bodies. Andy Hogden and Sam Bookberger do just a fantastic job at the JV level. They're real player coach kind of guys. And then Luke Hilgeman just does a fantastic job with both our offensive and defensive line. That's kind of the core of our staff. We've got a lot of other guys helping out, volunteering, but that's kind of the core of things. And I couldn't ask for a better group of guys to work with, and I know they're pretty fired up for the season, as am I.
Had a nice conversation last week with Jason Knott, the administrator at Pittsville, going to become their girls basketball coach this coming season. Mm-hmm. And you're not the administrator, but you're the principal at Spencer High School, so it makes it interesting combination. How do you balance those roles between being a principal and a head coach?
I think that overall it's been a good thing. It certainly allows me to have some conversations with some young men as their football coach rather than a principal sometimes, which sometimes can be more effective even. But no, it's been real good, and I'm real grateful for the community support in that, whether it's our superintendent, Mike Endress, our school board, and supporting me and allowing me to do that sort of thing, overall, I think it's been a great thing. I don't see a time where it's inhibited anything. And then you have to have a great coaching staff to lean on too, because there are days that things happen, and like I say, you really need to be able to lean on people. So again, very fortunate and thankful and grateful for that opportunity to be playing, both those roles for our district here.
Getting back to the conference, how do you see that CWC large? I know we have Coach Jason Tubbs coming in a little later, but
yeah, they're going
how do you see that shaping up?
Yeah, it'll be a tough one. I think, right now it's Stratford and Amherst right there, 1 and 1A, whichever order you want to put them in. I think that they're both really fantastic football programs with great traditions, and until somebody else beats them, that's where they're at. Wittenberg Burnham Wood's been real solid for years here. I've been real impressed with WIAA Fremont. They were able to beat us last year, and I think that they had a few nice wins. Chi-Acton's run the state was pretty impressive. I think they're just a well-coached ball club too. So, Nakusa beat us. We've got nowhere to go up about right now, and that's kind of our focus. But real tough conference with some real elite teams. Last year, 2 teams from the conference go to state, and had it not been for some other situations that took place, you probably would have seen 3 teams from the conference down in Madison. And I think that speaks to the quality of it right there.
Well, you look at, you mentioned Chi-Acton went to state, and they're predicted to be 4th in the conference this year. So
right.
I mean, that's how tough that conference is.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, and everyone will talk about the top end, but I'm telling you the bottom half too, it's quality football, and you'll learn that in a hurry, that there is no week off, and everybody's ready to go, and everybody's pretty deep and has some talent. And I do think in some of those cases, some of those teams have been with Amherst for a number of years, and that has been part of them just becoming better football programs, because it's the only choice you have is to get better. So real tough conference overall, and probably about to become even more tough the year after when you add Colby into the mix. So,
And as if the conference is bad enough, you start with St. Croix Central. It's a very strong program.
Yep, St. Croix Central is a very good football team. We've been scouting them. They beat us pretty good last year. They didn't lose a lot of kids, but they lost some pretty good ones. But they're a quality football team, quality football program. We expect a real challenge here right away, week 1.
And the Rockets take on St. Croix Central in their opener Friday night, 7 p.m. at Ted Fritsch Field. And Coach, thanks for coming by. Good luck in that ball game throughout the season.
All right, thank you. And thank you so much for the coverage, everybody.
Spencer Columbus football coach Jason Gorsch joining us on our football preview program this evening from Nuts Deep 2 on WOSQ and ZaleskiSports.com. We'll come back and talk about Marshfield Tiger football with Coach Denny Gadel in just a moment.
Bauer & Feind has been based in Marshfield since 1955. And if you're in business that long, you're obviously doing many things right. We always focus on selling world-class products, backing it up with world-class customer support.
Working with Bauer & Feind Business Technologies has been a pleasure. We have staff on call that we can call if we ever have issues, and the printer usability has been really easy, user-friendly.
Give us a call, visit our website. We'd be happy to come in, talk to you. Maybe there's a way we can help you save some money and work more efficiently.
No interest in water sports? Biking not really your thing? Want to add some excitement to your camping trip? Need more fun in your life? Hit the trails with an ATV or side-by-side from Bill's Service Center. At Bill's, your passion is our passion, and you'll find your fun with the latest from Can-Am or Polaris off-road products. When you need more fun, you need Bill's.
Bill's Service Center, where the adventure begins.
Grassland Dairy Products is your match for an exciting new career today. Go to grassland.com to see the opportunities waiting for you. Browse through careers like CDL truck driver, shipping and receiving, line tech, quality assurance, forklift, maintenance tech, inventory associates, and more. Great compensation, weekly pay, and zero premium, company paid health, dental, and life. Apply now at grassland.com or in person at Grassland Dairy Products, Fairground Avenue, just south of Greenwood.
Central Wisconsin Wisconsin Glass is Central Wisconsin's choice for your next new or remodeled shower and bathroom. The experts at Central Wisconsin Glass will effortlessly guide you through the design and installation process. Have the elegant and modern shower and bathroom you've been looking for. Call Central Wisconsin Glass at 715-387-8010. That's 715-387-8010. And Central Wisconsin Glass on Facebook for your residential, commercial, and vehicle glass needs.
The Midstate Technical College Healthcare Simulation Center, in a partnership with Aspirus, is a state-of-the-art interdisciplinary healthcare simulation center. It provides specialized spaces and simulation technology equipped with medium and high-fidelity mannequins and other equipment to create complex healthcare training scenarios. Visit our website at mstc.edu/simcenter.
Chili Implement, located just west of Marshfield in Chili, is your Kubota dealer in central Wisconsin. Big or small, Chili Implement has all the best equipment waiting for you. From farm tractors to lawn care, plus work and have fun in a Kubota side-by-side. Choose Chili Implement for your parts and service too. Chili Implement, open Monday through Saturday to serve you and 24/7 online at chiliimplement.com.
QFM.com with our pregame report at 6:30. That game also can be seen on Thursday evening on ZaleskiSports.com. Now let's head back to Jason Zaleski to introduce Mr. Gato. Jason?
Thank you, Gene. And again, welcome back to Nuts Deep 2 in the 2023 Football Coaches Preview Show. Larry Hazer, Gene Delisio, Jason Zaleski. And we turn now to Marshfield Tigers head coach Dennis Gadel. Coach, before we begin with the real questions, we'll start first with just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football and what in the world keeps you coming back every year?
And 30 years. This is year 30, so it's kind of a milestone. How's that? You know, it's one of those things, I think you either have it in you or you don't. So it's one of those weird things. I ask myself every year why you keep coming back, but not really. It's a camaraderie. It's being with people. I'm a people person. It is trying to get a young person to do what you want them to do and see if it all comes together on a football field, play after play, and see how they do grow and see how they fight for everything they want to get, and if they keep coming back themselves and you know, just those kind of things. It's about developing people. How's that?
Coach, along those lines, just thought of this before we get to your ball club from last year or this coming year. Of course, you worked for a number of years for Len Ludke as his offensive coordinator, a great coach, state champion coach. Do you see yourself being a different coach had you not worked with Coach Ludke and had that kind of influence in your coaching career?
Well, there's no doubt. You learn from mentors, and we all do. And you know, you take things away from a lot of people in your life. I played football for a long time myself for a lot of great coaches as well. Len is a great mentor in how about this? I respect him as a father and how he raised his children and how he raised his kids, and I watched what he did and how he worked with our kids also. And he's just got a lot of life lessons that I call them, and that's you got to take those things and you got to make them your own, and you got to work on those things the rest of your life. And Len was a great person, and you know his goals and his beliefs and his ideas and attitudes. Hopefully we can all take them and build upon them and work the rest of our lives. That he affected a lot of guys. You know what I'm saying? We've been together a long time, and we're still friends today. So those are things you can only hope to keep going forward and carry on the legend, so to speak, and keep remembering the past. I mean, my mom says all we got is memories, Dennis, and she's 85 years old. So we have a big saying in the Marshfield staff, is even when Len was way back, it's like we keep making memories every single year, and that's why we do this stuff. You know, make memories and remember what's going on in the past and keep moving forward. But had a lot of great coaches in my life as well that coached me, so I bring a lot of things back from those people as well.
And we don't like to overlook people, and when you think about Denny Gadel, you know, you think about that connection with Len Ludke, but also prior to that, your connection with Jim Brinker, who I'm sure was a great influence as well.
I just Sunday afternoon, I sat at a 40th wedding anniversary for my brother, him and his wife, 40 years. And my 6th grade teacher, Jerry Allen, who was Jim Brinker's roommate when they moved to Stanley. And we sat and talked for, well, it was an hour and a half by the time we left the table that we were sitting at right away. And I still call him Coach. I don't call him Jim, and you know everybody else does. I still call him Coach. That's the utmost respect. What those guys did for me as a young person, you know, Coach Allen and Coach Brinker, Coach Jerry Allen was the guy I was talking to, and he and I were sitting there talking. I just said, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know where I would have been, for real, because our family was farmers. We didn't have a lot going on financially, and I was a kid that they took me under their wing, and you know, they got me to football camps, they got me to basketball camps, and I mowed lawn 2 days a week for them, you know what I'm saying, and picked up sticks. Whatever they wanted me to do, I did. And just that connection with people and those connections from the past, man, you live your life on those things, and that's what Coach Allen and I talked about for, like I said, 2 hours. And Coach Brinker was, you know, a profound effect upon me and everything he did. So let's still talk about him today.
Well, let's talk about this year's ball club. First of all, your scrimmage this weekend, how that went for you.
You know, it's a scrimmage, and this is like one of the first years we really didn't like show much of anything. It was pretty cool. My offensive coordinator is Coach Ryan Brandt, and really scripted kind of guy, and he's really to the point. And we stuck to the plan, and we didn't go Coach Gato crazy, let's pass all over the place and show people all of our formations. So, you know, I just step back a little bit more now. I feel more comfortable stepping back, but it's a little tough. It really is. I think of a lot of times about Lennon, how the heck he just let me go, you know, because of the fact that he never called any offensive plays, he did defense. And now I'm that other guy. I'm saying like, okay, hold on, I'm not feeling like I want to be feeling, so I'm gonna call some pass plays, you guys, this is it. So, but no, Ryan did a great job, and we didn't show a ton of stuff, which is cool, because we have a lot of bullets with the people we have and the kids we have, a lot of bullets left in the gun. But I guess the big thing is like you're in a scrimmage, and every scrimmage is the first time we're getting contact and playing, and I think we didn't want to go hit anybody yet. So I hope that great change from week one, the scrimmage one, to the first game, and then get better each week. I hope that happens this week, and I'm sure it will. We cleaned up a lot of stuff, and kids are knowing where they're going now. Today, it was a good practice today, so I'm excited here today.
Well, some holes to fill, some good players back from a year ago, but some holes to fill, most notably at quarterback. What's that look like for this year? There's no doubt that, and I'm going to just stop for a second. We had a tremendous team last year, and they deserve every accolade they get. My quarterback was all conference, all everything, player of the year conference. You can't replace that. And he was a tremendous athlete and a great kid, and hopefully he's a friend of life of mine forever. You know, we got pretty close last year. It was a pretty good season with us, and he'll be a tough one to replace, but we got to go forward. And you know, Adam Gilbertson and Chase Robinson, that's a senior and a junior, two dudes that can play. There's not a lot of experience with those guys, so whatever they get every day they see in practice is another day of experience for them. Yes, can they be better? Well, everybody can be better, but they're doing what they have to do right now. I got to control them a little bit, because Adam throws like he throws rockets, and I got to somehow say ease off, and you know, a little bit more touch, my man. You know, he's putting it through guys' face masks right now, and Chase he's a thinker, so when he gets back at the end of his job, he's thinking a little bit too much, so he's got to bring some synapse closure here a little bit, and make some more quick decisions. But you know, Chase is really athletic. Adam's big and can move. They're not as athletic as Trevor was last year. He was kind of a freak back there at quarterback and could do a lot of things. But these two guys they're going to hold their own and do a real nice job for us. I'm hoping for the best for them, because they're going to do well. How about some other returners who you're counting on this year? You know, our offensive line is going to be pretty much all returning, which is cool. A lot of guys that had experience last year. So guys like Hayden Deringer's our center coming back. He played last year for us. So
it's great to have a big toe right in the middle of your offensive line that's coming back. That's a pretty cool thing. And James Clements and Riley Heller both have experience at guard coming back. So our interior three, pretty solid. Where we are bringing some guys in, new guys, juniors, and one senior, are at tackle positions. So, tackles, they make the most money in the NFL of the offensive line. And our left tackle is that dude, and, we're trying to get him moving his feet a little bit quicker. We got what we got. We are who we are. They're big. They're real big dudes. I mean, there's 6'3" and 6'4" and fit the bill. They look beautiful. But, man, we got to move our feet, and we're working on it every day. So that's going to happen for us. But those guys are Brock Crofey and Ethan Kinnick. He's a 6'7" kid, and Brock's 6'4" and huge. And Alex Klein's our senior. The other two guys are juniors. So, again, trying to keep that cycle going with the juniors getting playing time and ready for next year. So, nice offensive line. And the running back position coming back, and we feel real strongly about our running backs this year. Braden Anderson is a player from last year. He's a big dude. He's going to carry the ball and block. He had some great news this summer. He went out to a camp in Mankato. It's a university I'm familiar with Joe playing, and they offered him a spot on the team. See how things go. Hopefully he can have a great season and make it worthwhile for him. So that's kind of a cool thing. Mason Seidel is another senior tailback. He's a big kid, 200 and some pounds, and just got to get him running with a little bit of anger in him. That's one of those things that sometimes we have really nice kids in Marshfield. They're probably the nicest kids you're going to meet, all the guys that you want your girlfriends to take home to their mothers and things like that, So Caleb Denny is a national wrestler. He went out to Dakota somewhere and wrestled cougars in the mountains of the Badlands. So he took second place somewhere out there. He's ripped up and playing tailback. So he's going to be a real nice kid for us. And this other guy, out of nowhere, Graydon Rohde's his name, just turned out to be really fast. And so we're going to use him in some places. So that's a real good thing for our backs. At wide receiver, Brooks Henson, all-conference kid, basketball extraordinaire. He's got some offers to play basketball. I'm just really excited that he came up for football. He's a competitor, and we know that he's going to give us all he's got. So he's going to be coming in and he's going to be doing both positions, X and Z, a wide out and a flanker. Just because I got this other boy's name is Chris Pohl. First time he played since 8th grade because he had to sit out last year with something with his legs. He had some knee issues or something. But a big 6'7" dude that can get up, and he plays center for Coach in the basketball team. And I mean, I just want to sit back and say, go jump and catch the football. So that's the plays we got for him. They're not real difficult plays. Chris, run down there and jump up in the end zone. Hopefully catch a touchdown. So, and then Evan Jacoby's another senior, and Trey Parr's another senior that rounds out our receiving core. There's 4 guys that all can do well and play. So that's kind of a good thing for us. We're happy right now with the dudes we have. Now they just got to come together and play.
Jason, Larry, anything you have for Coach Gato?
Yeah, Coach, take a look at some of your point totals from last year, 42, 44, 49, 53. Obviously, it's a little easier to win a ball game when you score those kind of points, but is that a formula that you need to take or want to take to this year's football team?
What kind of question is that? I'm kidding with you, man. If we can score 40 points in a game, holy cow, we're going to win something. But no. I hope we get 2 touchdowns. Coach Luke, he said, if you can score 3, Dennis, we'll win. So I'm going to go with that mantra. You got to stick with what works for you. And when a guy tells you that, you just kind of believe it. So we'd like to score 3 touchdowns. That would be real good. And I don't think Len Jr. is too far off of his dad's thinking. He's like a prototype. That's why he's junior. There's not much difference in him and his dad. So he'll have his defense rocking, but we got to score 3 if we can. Those guys, there was a talented group last year, and Trevor accounted for a ton of touchdowns. And, Wyatt Lemoyne, Luke Lemoyne, and Wyatt's his brother playing at lacrosse, they're together. But Luke accounted for a ton of points as well, and those, to replace those guys, you don't replace, you hope to get somebody close and fill in their shoes a little bit, so it might be receiving, by committee, see guys that can do it, so. But scoring a lot of points, everybody wants to score a lot of points, so hopefully we can.
Oftentimes at practice early in the season or even some of the early games, the coaches, and you've told me this before, the defense is ahead of the offense right now. How have some of those camp battles been so far the last couple of weeks?
I think that the offense is a little bit ahead of the defense this year. A little bit ahead, only because I told you about our offensive line. And Coach Hartwig's kind of one of those freaky geniuses, and he is in every subject you talk to him about. You talk about science, history, the guy will blow you out of the water with all of his knowledge. But it's amazing if y'all would come and watch how he coaches. Because it's almost like, do you care, Randy, what we're doing? And all of a sudden, don't worry, Dennis. 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, he's got guys coming back and they're taking guys, switching guys, picking up blitzes. And I said, what'd you do? He goes, they know how to do this stuff. Whatever, but that's him, and he's a great coach. And our offensive line is ahead of the defensive line, probably a little bit. So I'm going to go there. But our quarterbacks are probably, they got some work to do, and we'll get there. But we're not going to throw them out there and give them things they can't handle right away. I hope our running backs can carry the load here a little bit. If you can turn around and hand the ball off and we get 3 or 4 yards of carry, that makes a quarterback's job real easy and an offensive coordinator's job real easy. So if I don't have to call too many passes, Coach Ryan can keep calling run plays and just score touchdowns, man. It's all good. So. Yeah.
You talked about 30 years in the coaching business, and you talked about your other coaches that you have on your staff.
Yeah.
Do you still take advice from people outside?
Every single second of the day.
So you're not set in your 30-year ways.
I know that I'm stupid, so I know that, and that's a good quality to have. Once you realize your inability to do things, you surround yourself with smart people. And look at Gene's here. I'm surrounded by Gene. He's a smart guy.
That's right.
So it's like I got good coaches, and the cool thing is you talk about servant leadership, and I kind of a big proponent, believer in servant leadership, and I try to do as much as I possibly can, even hopefully more than I can sometimes, so that others can see what needs to be done and what I'm doing and say, hey, Coach, I can help you. And my guys are pretty good at that. I don't have to say, geez, go pick up the footballs and make sure you got the flags on the field, or make sure you got... It's done. We walk in together, and after 30 years, and Randy's been here 33, and Junior's been here 25. We all got big milestones coming up, in the coaching world, and we know what's got to be done. So there's not brand new things every year, and that's really a cool thing. We're not switching coaches. I got another new coach, Josh Roach, as a safeties coach this year because Brett Ritter went back to his hometown in Bismarck, North Dakota this year and took a teaching job there. Brett was a real good friend of mine and stayed here for 3 years. And we just texted a couple minutes ago before I walked in. I was in the truck. And he says, how's it going? So whatever, we talked for a while. But those are things that in coaching and in any job, I'm sure that when you go out and you communicate with a lot of people every single day, I look to find really good friends and really close friends all over Wisconsin, okay? It's cool when you go somewhere and hey, Denny Gato, and you know somebody, and that's pretty a cool thing. My wife hates it a little bit because she's like, really? Who's calling you now? Who's talking? So. Did you ever get anybody that say, hey, Denny Gato, I remember running that play? Oh, when our school. But you threw me because whatever, my ADD's kicking in, ready? And this week, my son came back for a week because he went back to football on Sunday. And he goes, Dad, I want to come home for a week. Cool, come home and hang with Mom and I. Eat food for nothing for a week, whatever. But he came back and helped coach a little bit. So he's a safety, and he came out and he was working with our safeties and the new coach. They were working together. And he was telling the new coach, this is what we do, this is what, yada, yada, yada. And he goes, Dad, we're eating supper like Thursday night before I had to go back on Sunday. And he's like, this was really a good kickoff for me because I read everything you're doing, Dad, and obviously I knew what you were doing every single time you guys called the play. I'm like, shut up, whatever. But this is a great kickoff for me, and he just went back, and he had a great week of practice. He was player of the day yesterday for making defensive plays at practice. So he had a great setup here for us going back. And then the next day, Luke Lemoyne comes out. Hey, Coach, what you guys doing? Can I come out for practice? I said, yeah, come out. And then his brother came back out of the weight room because he was doing something in school. And they both came out to practice, working with receivers and DBs. And then I said, you guys don't come here for free. You're talking at the end, so get your speeches ready, So guys all down, I give them my last thing, but then they come and talk about what it means to be a Tiger, what it meant to do the things they did here, and what they did to get to where they are now, and they're both playing college football. And the next day, another dude shows up. The Ott kid, he came up, he plays at Stout, and Jackson Ott, and he comes out, Coach, how you doing? What's going on? Can I come out? And I was, yeah, but you're kind of talk at the end, so get your stuff ready, you know. And he did, and they all did exactly, without any prompting, exactly what you just talked about, what Marshfield football means to them and what it meant to them and how much fun they had doing it and what you guys need to look forward to in the program. And you couldn't ask for the luck I had with people talking that. I mean, that's just lucky. They come back, and that's what we hope for as coaches, so that's
cool.
a good thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Coach, let's talk a bit about your defense. I know you're not the expert on Tiger defense, but
not
since
the expert,
Coach Flipke's not
I've
here,
been talking to the experts, Gene, and the experts say. So
give us your thoughts about the defensive look this year.
I tell you what, we've been doing a lot of moving around. I guess that, you know, the defensive line last year really good, so you lose seniors and you lose people, but moving things around, and we got some cool kids. They're athletic kids. You know, they're the 200-pounders, not the 250s and 260s, but they move real well. Sawyer Ambling is going to play nose guard for us. He was playing DN to start camp and moved him down inside to play a one-tech or zero-tech, whatever defense they're in. And he's a little quicker and he moves around. Guys, you know, he can just make people do things that maybe they don't want to do. He's just that quickness kid. And Aiden Brenner's a senior. He's playing a 3-tech. And a guy that you might remember, Simon Daggett, his brother Isaac was the other defensive end last year. Simon's now taking his spot this year, so it's kind of like brothers switching spots. That's pretty cool. And he's playing really well. Another boy who's come in that we moved around a little bit, had him at fullback to start, hasn't played since his sophomore year. He's a senior now, skipped last year for wrestling, did some things and decided, hey, I'm going to give it a shot again. Owen Griesbach is his name. And we're going to play him at defensive end on the other side of Simon. Another 185, 190-pound kid, but, you know, the really thick kid, so that's kind of cool. And Chase DeShane's another kid that is another down lineman guy that can do things for us. So that's our stable of defensive linemen. You know, those guys are all going to rotate and get their snaps. At linebacker, we are Ethan Richardson, Jr., Dawson Meisner, Jr., who played for us last year. Ethan also played a little, got some snaps last year too. And then Donnie Karolfi was playing safety last year, but now we moved into a field side linebacker. So he's out there, you know, can move into nickels and things like such. So real athletic kid. And Pierce Weigel's another senior that needs to be mentioned because he'll get some snaps too and things like such. So DB, we got a bunch of kids. Hopefully some dudes step up and say, I'm the guy. Charlie Kenny, senior. Brant Fry's having a real good time. My son said he really picked up things well at safety. So Joe said, nice job. He did a real nice job. And kind of a nugget that we got this year, a transfer from where else? Wisconsin Rapids. Showed up at our doorstep. A guy by the name of Caleb Neuenfeld. And a thick kid and can run like crazy. Ran track last year for us. And now he's going to be a corner for us. Hopefully he plays well against Rapids too and doesn't throw some. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully he doesn't. But Dylan Bangert's another kid, and then those are all seniors. And then Evan Niehaus is a junior kid that's stepping up and doing real well, playing strong side, boundary safety, things like such. So, what else? I had D-line linebackers, DBs. Jay punter, that Chris Polda, that big tall receiver. He's punting like crazy. That leg he punts like. I hope we don't have to punt, but we will probably. And then kicker got. A dude's been to like 4 or 5 kicking camps, and he's a soccer guy. Love this kid, J.J. Steinbeck. And he's going to kick for us. I got to get him to kick in the end zone. I might have to, you know, offer him a couple, you know, icy pops or something, but he's got to kick it in the daggone end zone and make it happen. So that pretty much takes us, man, except for my tight ends. I never said nothing about tight ends, so you got to go back a little bit. Tyler Hyman and Josh Peters, they're going to be our 2 tight ends. So hopefully we can have some double tight sets and they can hold their own. So, man, that just about did everything for us, Gene.
Kind of reminds me of You've had 3 successive Daggetts now, just like the Zillmans you had.
Yeah, there we go. You're right.
It's nice to have that family keeps coming back one after the other.
And that's what stinks. Everybody's only having 2 kids. What the heck's wrong with us? You kidding me? Do you need to start pumping 3? Gene, put some banners outside.
I guess so.
Is there anything on the Zaleski Sports? Have 3 kids. Let's go.
There is now.
This is fun stuff. You guys got to know that.
Getting back to the special teams, how important is special teams? I know I cover a lot of lower divisions, and they
There's
do
no
a lot
lower
of
divisions.
Well,
no lower divisions.
Okay, well they do a lot of the 2-point extra point. They don't have a lot of kickers. How important is that for your?
I can't tell you what we do because that's giving away everything on a radio. If I could go for 2 every time, I would. But I got guys that hate me, so whatever. No, the extra point is tremendous. But then you go to the smart guy on our team, that's Coach Hartwig, and he's got stats and data. And I think he said like 52% of the time, even if you fail on a 2-point conversion, you still come out more than making 90% of your extra points, yada, 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 something like that. He's got some data. I didn't write it down because I didn't think I was have to say that. But if you want to call Randy.
Wow, I stumped the coach.
You did. You call Randy and ask him. But if we could go for 2, it pays in the end. Even if you fail once, you come back next time, you're right back where you were with 2 extra points, so whatever.
What about the conference this year?
I don't know. There's guys out there that pick people all over, and last year they picked us behind Wausau East, and East didn't have a team last year, and we won the conference. So bunk with all the people predictions. I don't care. So when we lose or when we win, I'll tell you, and if we go out to win and we win, then we'll be conference champs again. That's a goal. So. Yeah, you can pick all you want, man. So whatever, we're picked. I thought I saw 5th or 6th, and there's one team below us, and it's East again, and I think they picked Everest below us. I'm like, you kidding me? So whatever. They must not watch Northern football. So.
Yeah.
How about Hudson on Thursday night?
Hey, wow, you gotta be kidding me. They move a lot on defense like crazy. I have not watched their offense much because offensive guys, we're going to watch defense. Right now, they have 2 different types of defenses they play. They're very active, and they got some big ogres on the outside again. Like, what the heck? Where do you get these guys? Big 6'4" defensive ends. Like, come on. They probably got 3 kids in their family too. That's the issue. So, whatever. They sent a guy to Wisconsin last year too, or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't do much searching of people. Like I said, I'm dumb. I don't do that much searching of people. We'll go play it. I want to know what we do and how our kids play, because if you're in a defense, we'll block you and try to. And we got to tackle you. So. And
you open with 2 non-conference road games, rather unusual this year.
Well, we just wanted to travel a little bit further this year because, Coach Delaney's got more money in the budget this year from the big budget surplus, so we're going to spend her on gas. That's what we're going to do. What the heck, Whatever, yeah. What was it, the second team we played? New Richmond or something like that? Okay. That's up there even further than Hudson, right?
Pretty close.
Okay. I know we're leaving at 2 o'clock to get there at 5. How's that? We'll get there.
Well, we've seen you over there.
You will be. That's why.
So, Coach.
Hey, I got to give you a big kudos because, again, at some gatherings this summer, people listen to you all over the place around the state of Wisconsin. I'm like, that guy you got doing the radio, I can see him talk, and I know what he looks like. I said, and he goes, does he have little round glasses? I'm like, exactly. I can just see him through the radio. And I said, you got him perfect. So you are known throughout the state of Wisconsin.
Well, at least for something.
So, yes, for something. For something.
A lot of people are. Most of us have our photos on the wall of the post office.
Oh, these guys can't. These guys can't look at computers or go to the post office because they might get thrown in jail.
Well, Coach, good luck this season. We'll be seeing you on Thursday evening in Hudson.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. You're awesome.
Marcia Tiger football coach Denny Gadel joining us. The Tigers again open at Hudson Thursday evening. Game time 7 p.m. or broadcast 6:30 Thursday night on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and WOSQFM.com. That game also can be seen Thursday evening on ZaleskiSports.com. And back to Nuts Deep 2 and more of our high school football coaches program in just a moment.
We know how a bank should be at Partners Bank. Banking should be easier, treating our customers as valued and important. Services should be better with online and mobile banking and locations close to where you live and work. Loans should be quicker, and we make all decisions locally with years of experience helping people with their financing needs. Partners Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Partners Bank, better together.
Wondering what to feed your team after work, the game, or this weekend? Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids has tasty, char-broiled burgers for any hungry appetite. From the classic hamburger to the famous Chips Champ and everything in between, check out our daily specials. Stop inside to enjoy your meal with comfortable seating. See our complete menu of burgers, hot ham and cheese, hot beef, chicken and fish, fries, rings, curds, and ice cream served year-round. In a hurry? Same great menu in the drive-thru. Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids.
Save during the summer tire event at Sherrill Tire and Service Centers. Up to $150 back on a select set of 4 Goodyear tires. Buy online or mail-in rebate when you use the Goodyear credit card through June 30th at Sherrill Tire and Service Centers. Find your location at SherrillTire.com.
At the Granite Shop, we take great pride in what we do. We offer high-quality natural stone granite as well as a huge selection of man-made stone. With full slabs as well as a variety of partial remnants, you'll have no problem finding the stone that was meant for you. Our high-end, high-quality granite, quartz, and marble is perfect for any kitchen, bathroom, or remodel need. We are locally owned and operated on County Road C near Stratford. We service all of Wisconsin.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken has been voted best pizza in Marshfield 15 years in a row. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken is ready for your call now at 715-384-8118. Choose Drunken Chicken, BLT, Western, Mac and Cheese, Sweet Chili Chicken, and more. Plus, Scotty's has roasted chicken, fish, sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, 715-384-8118 and Scotty'sPizza.com.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Pizza Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Fure, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflatiri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.
And much more. Full menu here, served almost around the clock each day. We welcome in Stratford Tigers head coach Jason Tubbs. Coach, before we get started with the meaty questions, first, just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football, and what is it about coaching football for you?
Sure. Actually, I'm starting my 30th season, and not many left. Got this year and next year, and then I'll be hanging it up. But my son will be a junior this year, and so when he graduates, I think that'll let some of that younger staff of mine that does a great job, let them fight over who wants to stress. But did 21st season in Stratford, and so 30th overall, and just enjoy being around the guys year in and year out. They're the ones that get you back because they're good kids in Stratford and they work hard, and the great coaching staff and great mentor with Cal Takis, and it's easy to coach football in Stratford when you have that type of community.
Coach, congratulations again on the great success you had a year ago. Tell us what that wonderful year meant to you and your family and your football program.
When I first got here in Stratford, we were very fortunate to win 6 state championships in a row. Being the D coordinator for that group of guys, and when you get the head coaching job, you make it down to 2 state championships, but lose both of them. Getting down there a third time as a head coach and winning one is a special feeling, but that group of guys and their mentality last year when we hit the playoffs after that Amherst loss was just a fun group, and really special group of guys that graduated this year, and wish them the best in their futures. But it's just a fun experience you'll never forget.
Are there some things that occurred last year that enabled you to win that championship? You had some very tough teams in your division, and some games could have gone either way. But some things that your team had to accomplish to get past that and get to that goal.
I think one of the things you saw with our group of guys is that they continue to work to get better every day, and find the little things, and some of the things that experience, knowing who to block on certain plays and when to block. And I think the development of Kohler Kilty and Gavin Leonard, two juniors that just continue to carry a lot of the load on the offensive side, and mix it in with Braden Schiller and Ashton Wrench, and then our four senior linemen. I think you just kind of got this culmination of just everything started to click at the right time.
Well, tell us about this coming season. First of all, your scrimmage this weekend, how that went for Stratford.
Good. You go against DC Everest, you go against Lakeland, you go against Wausau West, and those schools are pretty big schools. And the DC Everest and Wausau West, they two platoons, so it seems like an army when you're shaking their hands when you're done with them. And I thought our kids competed real well. Some new guys in there at different spots that we got to evaluate and see how they did. And when the real speed's going at you, you don't do a lot of live tackling anymore, especially in our level. We don't want guys to get dinged up going full speed at practice when you got games coming up on the horizon that are pretty big games. So it was good to see our guys that tackled well and we blocked well, I thought at times, and handled it really well. And I thought overall, things to work on, but I thought we came out of there healthy, which is always a big key for us.
That's always been a key for Stratford football going back well into Coach Takis's career, maybe even Coach Knopf, always up there at that Schofield scrimmage and always facing some very big schools. And the Eau Claire schools are there for a while, for several years as well. What does that mean to face those bigger schools in that preseason scrimmage?
Yeah, you don't see that size usually. Wausau West has some big dudes, and I was listening to Coach Gato talk about his conference, and two of the teams we scrimmage, and I'm like, it'd be interesting to see what that's going to be like. Some of those scores on Friday nights with that conference, but just the speed of their game too. They have some athletes that are big, fast, strong. Their backups are big, fast, strong kids. So when we start subbing and they see our twos and our three athletes, is a little bit different than their 2 and 3s.
Well, how about this season for Stratford Tiger football? Fill us in on your expectations and your hopes for this ball club.
Well, we're going to find out in week 1, week 2, and week 3. We open up on the road at Mosinee, and they have a real good team, a team that we tied with last year in that weird rain game. Then we get home opener at our new old Tiger Stadium and against Edgar. Their team that's picked in the state, and then we go on the road to Amherst. So, 3 teams that you're going to find out what type of team we have, and we got some great kids coming back from last year's team. Peyton Glenn and Cole Tichy, 2 guys that started for us last year, and Walker Weiss was an offensive line starter, and then you have Kohler Kilty, who 1,800 yards rushing last year, kind of carried us there in the end of the year, and then Gavin Leonard, who's just a playmaker. So we mix in with some new guys, some new personalities, some different leaders on our team, and it should be another fun season.
Before we get to the football team, tell us about the reconstruction of Tiger Stadium and how that looks.
It's getting better every day. It's a process I've been told that we need to be patient with. The oats that they plant with the grass now have been cut and dying off, so it's turning, the green grass is becoming greener. We will never have to worry about drainage. It really drains really well. They've put over 8,000 gallons of water on it this summer, and there's some spots there that still look a little new, but they're going to fill those in, and hopefully it looks. I thought last week when we had our pictures on there on the day before the scrimmage, it looked playable, and I'm like, hey, this is better than it was in June, because I was really nervous that we'd be going back to Marshfield again. So,
all right,
Coach. Let's talk about that last year with no home games. Every game was on the road, and the guys that are coming back this year, what did they learn from that experience, or what can you help them now to take from that learning last year and apply it to this year's team?
Yeah, I think one of the things you find out about your team is how you travel, and having the same type of okay, bus is leaving at this time, some of those guys even would sit in the same spot on their bus. We take 2 buses. Just that consistency of making sure we're going to arrive at the school at 5:30. We're going to get dressed, get taped, get out for special teams. We try to keep everything the same, whether we're going to WIAA at Fremont or if you're going to Marshfield.
Yep, and you are reigning state champs, so somewhat of a similar question. Those guys coming back from last year, they've got that. How do you keep them hungry this year?
Well, you know, it's a brand new season, and we keep telling them every day that, you know, now you have the target on your back. You know, we kind of put that in our weight room this year with bullseyes and like, hey, no one's you're not under the radar. You're not gonna be a 2 seed and going to Grantsburg, you know, and so everyone knows who you are. You know, and if they tune into high school football, they should know what Stratford is anyways. But, you know, some of these are incoming juniors that, you know, were on the special teams last year. Well, now you're starters. And now it's a different level, different speed, and you got to kind of develop. And that's our job as coaches to get them prepared.
You have a lot of skill players back, you said, and some linemen that you have to replace from last year. Any concerns there?
Absolutely. Well, we'll get Walker Weiss returning as our center. And he did a great job last year as a sophomore. He's put on 20 pounds of muscle, so really expect him to continue to do well. One of our guys last year, Carter Lewick, is another kid that played a lot last year on our O-line. He was a rotating guy. When some of the other guys needed a break, he was the first lineman in, so he'll be there. And then we got some other guys that are kind of, you know, cutting their teeth on being new. Henry Zaleski was a tight end for us last year. We moved him to tackle. Riley Cranian was another tight end that we moved to the offensive line as the other tackle. And those two seniors, you know, they're hungry to play. So and they did pretty well in the scrimmage. We're excited about that. And then we got a kid back from, he played his sophomore year, took his junior year season off. And I think if he did play last year, he would have been one of those players that would have been starting somewhere on the field. He was just that good of a player, and that's Landon Zawislan. So we get him back in the fold. He's that other guard for us, you know. So we feel that we have, you know, three seniors and 2 juniors, experienced kids that have played for us, and I feel they can get the job done, and they'll continue to improve as a unit week in and week out.
Does it make it easier to have the skilled players, the ones that are coming back, as opposed to the other way around? The linemen would be skilled and the skilled players weren't?
Yeah, there was a play at the scrimmage where, you know, we missed a block, and one of the linebackers from Lakeland met Kohler Kilty in the hole, and Kohler carried him for 5 yards. So you're getting a 5-yard gain. You know, Kohler's up to 210 pounds, and he's stronger. He's faster than he was last year, you know. And, you know, Gavin Leonard is now 6'3". You know, he's gotten taller. He's gotten faster. So you get those 2 special athletes on the field, and you mix in a Cole Tichy and a Peyton Glenn and Jet Shaner, who was 3rd in the 100-yard dash in state and track. You know, I think we'll be fine in that part of it. We just got to get the ball into their hands.
Coach, how about some areas where you feel this ball club might be really strong this year? Although probably most areas will be strong this season, but anything that you really like about this ball club?
I think our defense, you know, last year, this group of guys, and that's another thing about, you know, the fortunate part of playing 14 games last year is that our backups got to play against really good players for extra weeks. You know, so these guys now are sliding as starters with a lot of experience coming back. You know, so an example would be like on defense, when they're scout team defense, you know, we try to simulate the similar terminology. So if we're playing, you know, for example, Fond du Lac Springs, and they run, you know, double slots, some people call it, well, we call it differently. So our defense kind of learns, our scout team D is learning our own defense as we're being somebody else's defense. And I think you're going to see that with some of our newer players. You know, Matt Foles is going to be our starting middle linebacker, is a kid that, you know, was a great scout team player for us last year, and you're like, oh, this kid can play linebacker, you know, so now we're giving him a shot, you know, so that's one of the examples. Excited to see how they do it with the lights on Fridays.
You know, Jerry Sins always talked about that, you know, when you have a lot of ball games that are lopsided, and you don't want to embarrass your opposition, of course, but one of the advantages to your ball club is that second half, your sophomores, your freshmen, playing a lot of football for you on the varsity level, and in the long run, that really does help your varsity program, doesn't it?
Oh, I think so too. And a lot of times, like especially in playoffs, you're playing against seniors that don't want to get off the field. Like, you know, last year we're playing Cumberland, and they left their starters until the end of the game, and our guys are playing against them at the end because you're trying to get your guys to stay healthy. And you do see some of that. You get to see kids at playing against a different level, and it's fun to see what they can do.
You see, you talk about the 10th time you've been at state. Is there any pressure on the kids at all, do you see?
I would say
trying to get back there every year, at Stratford football.
I don't see it. They might talk amongst themselves sometimes. Community members will talk about it. This year we're honoring our 2003 team that made it to state. It's the 20th year of that. So those guys will be coming to a game. It's going to be fun to see how kind of shape those guys are in after 20 years. But I think a lot of the times it's the pressure they put on themselves. And, I tell them every season's a different season. So 2 years ago we got knocked out in level 2. You just got to compete every game, every play, and see what happens. And I think a lot of times the kids see it. There's a history of it, but I think at the end of the day they realize that just control what you can control.
Sometimes that can be actually better. They actually play better knowing that they got to keep the thing going.
Right, and they get in the weight room. This group of guys, we don't have the 270-pound Ben Bartons of the world anymore. Our guys are, around 180 to 190 to 200, but they're fast, they're athletic, and they're strong. It's like one of our strongest years, believe it or not. They might not look strong, but you have kids that are squatting 400 pounds, and you're like, ooh, that kid's in the, it surprises us that he got in the weight room that much.
I've seen him play baseball, and some of those kids, they look like they're in the weight room.
Yeah. And wrestler, too, a great wrestling program always helps that. Basketball, athletic kids, it kind of feeds it into it. The athletics in Stratford is taken seriously. I like to push the academics sometimes for them so they remember their plays, but,
Coach, we talked earlier about last year's start, a tie and a loss, and the first two teams that you played last year are still the opponents this year. Is it more how do you put an emphasis to your guys on starting fast in a football season?
Yeah, right off the bat, you're going to go at Mosinee. You're going to see some really good athletes with Gavin Obremski and Keegan Jersley. And I think our guys are up for the challenge. I think they're excited to play against those teams. You're looking at other teams that are like, we just heard like Red Lake Prentice has forfeited their season. So we've had that in the past too, where games got canceled on us. So at least Mosinee's going to have a team. Edgar's always going to have a team. So we like our non-conference schedule. We know it's good for our seeding at the end of the year, win or lose. Because you're playing a bigger school, you're playing a traditional school. And 2 years ago we were 2-0 against those teams. And last year we were 1-1, but both ended pretty strong for us for seeding.
Coach, how about the development of your conference? Because when you first joined the CWC Large, certainly you had a great reputation for football, as did Amherst, two very strong programs. Wittenberg-Burnhamwood had a reputation going back some, but really not recently. But now in the last couple of years, it's been not only you two, but now Wittenberg's improved, WIAA is very improved, Shiocton's very much improved. The entire conference seems to be rising to your level. How about the way that's developed over the last several years?
Yeah, it's fun to see for sure. One of the things I noticed, last year Shiocton gets to the Division 7 state championship and we get to the Division 6 state championship, and if Amherst might have been eligible, they might have gotten to the Division 5. And I don't know how many conferences can say they had three teams, and quality teams. And WIAA Fremont has a new coach. I know their superintendent real well. He's my younger brother. And he's pushing the athletics there too. And you just seeing it develop. And then, next season we start new conference. Shiocton leaves, and so does Manawa, and we get Marathon and Greenwood Loyal. So, Nakusa leaves, and we pick up a Colby. So it's almost becoming like a super conference.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Any thoughts you have about the way that conference looks this year?
Well, Amherst, I know, has been working really hard. I know they're gunning for to get back on top and be ready to go. And Wittenberg has got some good athletes as well. So I always figure those two teams are in the mix. And then surprise team again could be WIAA Fremont. Depends on what kind of shape those guys are in.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks for coming by and joining us on our program this evening.
Appreciate all the coverage we get.
Stratford Tiger football coach Jason Tubbs joining us. Again, the Tigers open their schedule Friday night with a non-conference game at Mosinee. Game time is 7 p.m. You're listening to our high school football preview program on WOSQ-FM and ZaleskiSports.com. Back with more from Nuts Deep 2 in just a moment.
The Sports Den, located on Marshfield's sunny south side since 1975. The Sports Den has the area's best selection of outdoor equipment. Find top brands of snowshoes, cross-country and downhill skis, snowboards, swimming equipment, skateboards, and more. The Sports Den has a full-service bike repair center along with top bike brands, Specialized, Trek, and others. The Sports Den is Central Wisconsin's Fat Bike headquarters. Visit the Sports Den in Marshfield Monday through Saturday and thesportsden.net.
For over 50 years, the Dental Clinic of Marshfield has served the area with the talent and expertise of big city dentistry with a hometown feel. With our multi-specialty staff and board-certified periodontist, orthodontist, and pediatric dentist, Dental Clinic of Marshfield has solutions for our patients of all ages from 1 to 100. We take pride in being in-network with an array of insurance companies to meet the needs of our community and our patients. No matter what your dental need, the Dental Clinic of Marshfield will be there for you.
At Express Employment Professionals, we place people from all walks of life in all kinds of jobs.
Hi, welcome to Express. Please sign in and have a seat.
Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks.
I really got to understand what what a nurse is. Do they focus on you? You know, do they make sure that you're comfortable? And you know, that's what Shai has. It's the connection that he has. You know, my best interest in mind always.
Why wait another day? Let's take the next step together towards a better life.
I had an employee at once ask me to prioritize family, faith, and business, and I put them in that order in particular. For each one of our employees, it's family first. You do what is best for you and your family. Then the rest of it will take care of itself. It's about making sure you make the best decisions for you and your family.
Zaleski, by the way, on 92.3 FM, WOSQ, tomorrow evening, the Luke Fickle Show with Badger football coach Luke Fickle, 7:05 tomorrow evening on 92.3 FM, WOSQ. We have our next guest lined up, Colby High School football coach Jim Hagan. Jason, how about the introduction for Coach Hagan and his staff for this year?
Yep, thank you again, Gene, and thanks to Nuts Deep here in Marshfield for hosting our 2023 high school football show with these coaches. Homemade pizza. We're all enjoying homemade pizza right now. Of course, burgers, all the appetizers, salads, and everything here almost served all day long at Nuts Deep.
And by the way, thanks to Larry for making the homemade pizzas.
Way to go, Larry.
Great job.
It's about time.
Congratulations.
It's one thing I'm not normally good at, but
You did a great job tonight.
I did a good job tonight.
We'll turn now to Colby Hornets head football coach Jim Hagan. Coach, before we get started with our season preview, just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football and what keeps you coming back every year.
This is the start of my 33rd year, all of them at Colby. This is my 7th year then as the head football coach. What keeps me coming back is probably just, love of the sport. I mean, I just love football, and I love being around, the players, and just the excitement that they bring, and, just being in the locker room with them and on the football field, and, I think just the overall camaraderie to it with the other coaches on my staff, and who are just great to work with, and we all get along so well. And so there's just a lot of reasons, and at this time I just can't think of doing anything else.
Great. All right, Gene?
Coach, first of all, let's talk about your scrimmage this weekend, how that went for Colby football.
Yeah, it went better than I thought it was actually going to go. We had been struggling somewhat in practice with our offense, just knowing who to block, and in a couple days we just weren't given a lot of effort, for some reason. Not everybody, but a few guys, and we corrected that, and we started off against Wittenberg on offense, and I thought we moved the ball really well and really consistently, and hit him on some big plays, and against Tomahawk we had some nice runs against Tomahawk and some nice pass plays. So I was really happy with that, and like I said, I was really worried about our offense going into that scrimmage. And after we left the scrimmage, I looked at our offensive coordinator, Coach Smiles, and I said, I feel a lot better about our offense right now than I did 3 days ago, and he agreed. Defensively, we did okay. We gave up some big pass plays. We're a man-to-man coverage football team, and we knew Wittenberg had a good quarterback coming back, but we just weren't ready for that type of pass game. And they, like I said, hit us on some big pass plays. I thought we defended the run okay, and overall, for the most part, we came out pretty healthy in the scrimmage also.
You lost some very talented ball players from a year ago. Tell us about those losses and how you make up for that this year.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of good players in the last 2 years. Last year, we, losing, guys like Caden Healy, who was just a great running back and linebacker, and Oscar Zamora, a big offense and defensive lineman. They both played in the All-Star game this summer and did really well against, many of the other top players throughout the state of Wisconsin. That senior leadership, that's hard to, that's hard to overcome. We lost 15 seniors from last year's squad, 16 from the year before, and this year we only have 9 coming in. But overall, I like our team. I like the seniors that we have. I think we have some talent there. We're not going to be the biggest team that Colby football's ever put on the field, but I think we're fairly quick. We have a lot of really good running backs coming back, starting with Ivan Hamer at fullback. He's a 6 foot, 182 pounder and has a 38-inch vertical leap, and he's kind of making a name for himself by going to some of these combines in the last half a year. And so if people don't know of Ivan Hamer, they might want to take note, because I think they're going to read a lot about him or hear a lot about him. He's just so fast and elusive at running back. And we got Gavin Voss coming back at tailback. He's a 6 foot, 205 pound junior. He runs hard. He's going to be a tough guy to bring down. I think, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here in the interview, but I think one of the big question marks coming into this year is going to be our offense and defensive line. We're not, like I said, we're not going to be overly big, but we're going to be quick. We have a lot of inexperience on the offensive line, other than a couple guys. So, our success is really going to depend on whether we can control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football.
Coach, now that you bring it up, I seem to recall talking to you a couple of years ago, and you mentioned that I think it was going to be this year's senior class was a bit light in terms of numbers. And when you know that as a coach, you look at the numbers going forward, do you do things to prepare for that, to kind of buffer that situation in your program?
Not necessarily. I think, you get whoever comes through the doors, and we're not out there trying to, steal anybody else's players from any other schools or anything like that. You get who you get, and I don't know that you can really prepare for those kind of things, lack of numbers at a certain grade level. We just try to do the same things every year, work hard in practice, try to have some sort of off-season, workout routine in the weight room and strength and conditioning and speed. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the 9 guys we got who are seniors are all great kids. They're fun to be around, and that's one of the things that makes me keep coming back year in and year out.
You have the different players in your lineup now. As you mentioned, the seniors the last couple of years that have graduated. Has it altered anything that you've done with your team?
Not necessarily. We do look at our skill and or lack of size or whatever whatever it is. So I think you make subtle adjustments as a coaching staff, whether it be offense or defense. And these first 2 weeks of practice are really beneficial, obviously, just to see what your team is going to be made of. And sometimes I guess part of the joys of coaching football or any sport is trying to put those pieces together. It's kind of like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. The first day of practice, you might have this guy at offensive tackle. Well, maybe after day 3, he might now be the offensive guard. So you kind of got to tweak things around a little bit to put your best players on the field. And so, this year, we're always going to be doing a lot of the same things at Colby football as long as I'm the head football coach. We're going to be a wing tee type of team, and we're going to be pulling guards and things like that. And, we're going to incorporate a little bit more motion this year just to get the defense eyes looking elsewhere and then come back with some counters and things like that. So, those are some of the changes that we are making, but again, we're Colby football, and we're going to be run-oriented first, and hopefully our successful run game can then set up the pass game.
Because I know you had some pretty good running backs in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned one, Caden Healy.
Yeah.
And power football was always Colby for the
last
last few years.
He was pretty fun to coach, and pretty fun to watch. But I'm really happy with couple of the running backs we got coming back this year.
Yeah.
Like I said, Gavin Voss is going to be a very good tailback, and Ivan Hamer. I'm telling you, this kid's the real deal. He does not go down easy. He is fast. He is elusive. He's slippery. And he is going to be forced to be reckoned with if we can give him. All he needs is a little crack. He doesn't need much, and he just has that ability to find the seam and contortion his body at different angles, and he's just tough to bring down.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about community support. I know when I go to your football games, I'm there an hour and a half early, and people are already coming in and sitting in those bleachers. And by kickoff, if you weren't there maybe a half hour beforehand, you may not get a seat. What's that like playing in front of those kind of crowds and having that type of support?
Yeah, I've been very blessed to be at Colby for, like I said, 33 years, and we've always had really good support. With football, and I think a lot of other sports too, whether it be volleyball and basketball, whether it be boys or girls, and obviously a lot depends on how well you're playing in basketball. For years we've had a really strong girls program, and our boys are kind of back on the up and up, and we've always gotten nice crowds, and yeah, I think it's Colby is a pretty special place to be, and there are times where I'll even during a game, I might just want to soak in the atmosphere just a little bit as a coach during a timeout or, during in between quarters, and I'll maybe turn around and look behind me and go, wow, this is a nice crowd tonight, and our student body has been just wonderful the last many, many years, and just very vocal and very loud, and, it's very much appreciated. Likewise, then, I'll tell our players, at practice, hey, remember, there's a volleyball match tonight at home. Let's get there and show their support too. So I think it goes both ways, and yeah, as a community as a whole, it's been very supportive of sports and as a football program.
You have Neillsville Granton coming up on Friday night. Mm-hmm. That game you can hear on 92.7 WPKG. It's a team, Neillsville Granton, that has a lot of skill back offensively. Mm-hmm. How do you see that matchup with them coming up on Friday?
Yeah, I know they, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, I believe they have 5 or 6 starters on defense back and, 5 or 6 on offense, so, I see them improving every single year a little bit, and it's a team that worries me, and I know they got a good quarterback back. I believe it's Erickson. I'm not very good with names always, but he throws the ball very well. And when watching their scrimmage, they move the ball at times, against Abbotsford and Assumption. So, I always found Neillsville to be a very tough place to play. I don't know why. It's just. And we take nothing for granted, so we're looking forward to a very, very good football game on Friday night.
What do you see as the key to your success? Win there.
Yeah, really football comes down to, several key things. Blocking and tackling is one of them, and turnovers, and, we're going to have to hit them on some big plays, and I think we're very athletic, like I mentioned earlier, whether it's on the offensive line, certainly at our skill positions. We do have some speed, even at the wide receiver position, so it's going to, again, come down to nerves, being the first game and having a fairly inexperienced varsity squad, and just whoever's going to make the fewest mistakes is going to win the game.
Okay. Coach, we were talking with some coaches earlier about mentors they've had, and certainly you've had 2 of the best out there between Dwayne Tuska and Jeff Rosemeyer, who I happened to run into a couple of days ago, by the way. But tell us about what you've learned from them and how they've affected your coaching career.
Yeah, I don't know Coach Tuska overly well, although he does come into my office occasionally just to sit down and talk, and he's just always got so many great stories and funny stories, and he's a very simple man, and some of the things that I've learned from him, are just, if a guy can't do certain things that you want him to do in practice, they will never, ever do it in the game. So don't, put yourself in that situation where if you're going to count on this kid, but he hasn't performed in practice, don't count on him in the game. That lesson has always kind of stuck with me, but speaking of, my mentor, more than anybody in the whole world other than my own dad, it's Jeff Rosemeyer. I mean, what a wonderful person, wonderful family man, wonderful teacher. He was a phenomenal coach, whether it be baseball or football. And, I could sit here for an hour and just talk about all the things that I learned from him, and just, from practice organization to X's and O's to player development to just how handle all the paperwork and stuff like that. And like Jeff is, one of my best friends, and somebody who I think the world of. And I was just very blessed and honored to be a part of his staff for 25 years. I was a young coach that didn't even know where Colby was when I came to Colby. I really didn't. And both he and his wife kind of opened up their arms to this young 23, 24-year-old guy, and brought me into the house many times for supper and dinner, and we formed a great bond and friendship over the years, and we continue with that friendship. My wife is very good friends with his wife, and we do a lot of things together. And the other day, actually, I was taking a walk, and I was kind of thinking, I'm like, between Coach Teske and Coach Rosemeyer and myself, that's only been 3 coaches in the last 62 or 63 years, and I'm like, wow, that is really humbling to be in that category with those 2 guys. And there's a lot of schools that have had a lot more change than that over the past 6 years, and to only be one of 3 coaches, that's I'm very humble and honored.
And the level of play really hasn't gone down that much in those years either.
Yeah, we've always had a pretty successful program. Some years it's not as good as others, but I've been very fortunate to be a part of 5 state championship games. Coached in 5 state championship games, and there's a lot of coaches that have never coached in a state championship game. So
I get a feeling also that if you talk about how Coach Rosemeyer has influenced you, aside from how to run a play, how to run a practice, how to organize things, probably the biggest influence has been how to just handle your players, how to treat your players, treat other people. Yeah. That's probably been the biggest influence, knowing what I know with Coach Rosemeyer.
Yeah, without a doubt. He was a very good practice coach. Obviously he did really well during the games too on the sidelines on Friday night, but he really knew how to manage a practice really well, when to yell and what not to yell, and when to really push or when to back off. And I was athletic director for many years when he was the head coach, and even speaking to some superintendents that that were there when Jeff was the head coach, they said that they'd never received like one complaint ever from a parent, just because I think he treated players well, and players just so respected him, just like us coaches always respected him. And yeah, he's just a class act person.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for joining us this evening. Once again, your ball club opens on Friday evening in Neillsville against Neillsville-Granton. Game time, 7 p.m. Again, that game can be heard on Friday evening on 92.7 FM WPKG. Good luck in that one and throughout the season.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Colby High School football coach Jim Hagan joining us on our high school football coaches program here on WOSQ and on ZaleskiSports.com. Back with more from Nuts Deep 2 in just a moment.
High school sports.
Be ready for your season with Play It Again Sports of Eau Claire. Play It Again Sports is just down the road, south of the 5393 intersection in Eau Claire. Just tell them you saw this commercial on Zaleski Sports and get $5 off any $50 order and $10 when you spend $100. Play It Again Sports, buy, sell, trade, and be ready for your season.
Hello, I'm Jenny Shaner, Realtor, Next Home Hub City. If you're a first-time home buyer or seller, or you've been around the block, because of my experience, I'm able to help you in the most efficient way. I'm a full-time, full-service realtor. I focus on my clients 100%. Let's work together as a team for a win in your next real estate transaction.
Whitetail Lanes is your fun headquarters in central Wisconsin. We offer a clean, family-friendly environment. Whether you come to bowl, eat, visit our pro shop, or just hang out, we'll show you what customer service is all about. We pride ourselves on serving excellent food at reasonable prices. Try our Friday night fish fry, or come out on Saturdays for our delicious homemade pizza cooked in our new stone ovens. Book us for your next party or event. Once you've been here, we know you'll be back. Whitetail Lanes, just north of Amherst Junction on Q.
You know better when you see it.
1, 2, 3.
But sometimes, it's a little harder to tell what better looks like. And you could use a little help.
Thanks, Mom.
Security Health Plan. Everything you need in a health plan. Everything you'd expect from a good neighbor.
Mall Furniture has every type of chair you can think of. Lazy Boy, Best Swivel, Queen Anne, Marshfield, all types of lift chairs. We have it all. All are ready to pick up and take home today. Mall Furniture sells locally made products and is proud to serve Central Wisconsin. We've been family owned and operated for over 45 years and looking forward to many more. Have a look at us online at mallfurniturewi.com.
Mall Furniture, where value is yours.
As well, we got homemade pizza that I was told earlier that Larry actually brought in. But if you want better pizza, order it at Nuts Deep, along with burgers, fish fry Friday, appetizers, salads, everything, and served almost all day round here at Nuts Deep of Marshfield. We turn now to Abbotsford Falcon football head coach Jake Knapmiller. Coach, before we begin, just to remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football and what keeps you coming back every year.
15 years, 17 years coaching high school football overall. That's a great question in terms of what keeps you going, and I think when you see high school football is at a really challenging spot right now, and I think COVID challenged it even more. The certain clientele, kids that want to work, maybe play a single sport all year. We're seeing it. Other schools are seeing it. But it's the guys, that all aside, it's the guys that show up, that devote, commit to a program, to something bigger than themselves, that I think is really important for young men. And I think when we look at what we want our young people to be like when they turn into adults, I think football is the greatest benefit for a lot of these kids. And in our school, we have a unique rural, high poverty area where kids maybe don't come from sometimes the best households. And if we provide them with that opportunity to learn, to be great leaders, to be part of something bigger than themselves, sometimes that's all it takes.
You had a football scrimmage just a few days ago. What did you learn about your football team at the scrimmage?
We know our numbers are lower. We're at 23 kids. And so within that scrimmage, it's the idea of finding out who your best 11 are, but also who's a valid replacement if something were to happen. And the few things that we looked at were, can we play fast? Number one, can we have fun? But can we play fast and trust what we've been teaching in practice? And I thought at our scrimmage, we have returning skill players that looked really good skill-wise, but our line was probably more impressive, that we're getting them in space and allowing them to make some plays. And some of our linemen have transitioned from new positions, and they're fitting in really well using their athleticism. So I think our highlight was our speed was put to use. Sometimes you have fast guys, and if they don't hit anybody or don't understand what's going on, that speed is wasted. And I thought we applied it really well on Friday.
You talked about fast starts, and I'll turn it over to Larry after this one. You talked about fast starts. You won your first 4 games last year, and then it fell off after that. The guys that are coming back, what did they learn from that experience, and how will you help them apply that learning to this football season?
Yeah, I think our first 4 games are kind of non-conference team, non-Merriwood teams, and I think the other coaches in the Merriwood agree that it's a pretty good small school football conference, and once you get to that, it's a real deal if you're successful in our conference. Like, you look at the Colbys and the Edgars and the Auburndales the past few years. They were obviously successful within our conference and then went on to win a lot of levels of football following that. And so our 4 games, we feel like are against conferences that maybe don't face that same competition overall throughout the year. So last year, our kids were prepared for that. We went into our first week of Merriwood with some confidence, and then we got pounded by a marathon team. That didn't finish real high in our conference even, and so that was kind of the beginning of where we got a reality check to how good you are when you start facing the competition level changes a little bit. And so I think we have a lot of returning kids that are juniors and seniors that understand how good we have it. Like, if you think about it this way, if you can get through the Colbys and the Edgars, the Auburndales, and the athletes you see and get to playoffs, you're going to be successful with whoever you draw at that point. And that was kind of the same thing when we were in the old Cloverwood. If you could get through those small school tough teams, you make playoffs, you're sitting good too. So,
Larry.
Well, we talk about your run of playoff appearances. Last year came to an end. How much of a challenge it is for you as a coaching staff now to get this team built back up? I know you said the numbers are down. That's not easy when you don't have the numbers there. But how is it a challenge for your coaching staff to get them back up there?
Yeah, we speaking of my coaching staff, it's kind of unique. We have every guy on my staff is a former player, and they're all young guys. They're all in their 20s. They bring a tremendous amount of energy to our program. We lost a longtime defensive coordinator, Andy Bray, moved to Florida, and my defensive coordinator now is Garrett Rao, who was a former quarterback for us, and is our head basketball coach as well, and he's here tonight. Yeah, and so I think like our kids with kind of a fresh set of eyes, a bunch of kids that have played in the system, our kids really trust those guys. I'm the old guy that can't get in a stance still and show them what how to do things. And but we have talented kids. We have kids that have experience. We don't have 15 of them. We have 12 or 13 of them that we can field, and that can win you ball games. Those kids just have to be available every week. So that's where we're at.
Who are some of those kids that are coming back that are going to be an important part of your team this year?
JV Castillo is one of our senior leaders. He was a guy that was never healthy last year. He sprained his ankle in a baseball game. As a very good baseball player, but he was playing summer ball last year, the weekend before a scrimmage, and badly sprained ankle. Didn't scrimmage at all with us, and I don't think he was ever 75% in our season. And for a team that wants to run their quarterback, if we can, and him being probably one of the better athletes on the field, we didn't have that option last year. So we returned him as a senior. We look for him to carry a load. Our leading ball carrier was Christian Fuentes. He was a freshman last year. Again, a sprint guy that was one of the top kids in Merriwood last year as a sprinter. Put on 15, 20 pounds of weight, got faster throughout this offseason, and he carried the ball probably 20 times a game last year as a freshman and held up. So those two guys we look to. We have some other kids that are going to share the load offensively. Emilio Escalera, Chase Bowler, Irvin Aguilera. Those are all guys that will get touches in a game to kind of take that workload off of those two guys, because JV is 150 pounds and Christian's 160. So they're not guys that are going to pound 40 times a game, but we'll use their speed and their athleticism. We also returned Evan Rice, who was, I believe, our leading receiver, which isn't a ton in our offense. But he was, I think, the second place in the 200-meter dash in the Merriwood next to Jet Shaner, and he was a baseball guy. He was a dual sport guy. So he didn't go to one track practice all year. He didn't do any sprint workouts, and he showed up and ran that fast. So he's definitely a guy that we look to with a high level of talent and look to use him a little bit more than we have throwing the ball in the past, get him the ball. And our other returning senior is Ashton Hamill, who was our all-conference lineman last year, and he'll play a right tackle for us.
How difficult is it? I know a lot of schools, smaller schools, have low numbers. I mean, guys got to play both ways the whole game. I mean, that's got to be difficult, especially Friday night or whenever I don't know if you play Thursday or Friday, but it's going to be warm.
Yeah.
They're playing out there the whole game, basically.
Yeah, I think Garrett, Coach Rao, has a little bit of the same mentality as me in terms of let's see how many guys we can get to play one way. And with 23, you're not, but we only have 4 freshmen, so those guys we're trying to keep them out of the varsity mix as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at about 18 kids that are eligible that we can get involved on a Friday night. So if you can have a rotation of kids that can get guys a break, can rotate on some special teams, and try to play your best 11, but also your healthiest 11, your fastest 11, your freshest 11. That is a challenge. It's a challenge that other programs might not face. They might have other challenges like parents complaining about playing time, but we don't have that at this point. So just like anything, it's you just have to figure out a way to be at your best, and hopefully the kids trust that.
What about that conference this year, shaping up the Merrillwood Conference?
Yeah, like any other year, you're getting to that gauntlet, and hopefully you get through it healthy. And you're looking at perennial powers in our state in Division 7, 6, sometimes 5.
Yeah.
Colby bumps up to that, and I think the agreed favorite would be Edgar coming into it. They have a loaded amount of talent and the experience of being a level 4 last year against Eau Claire Regis, and they're going to be tough to beat. But the other teams are kind of more question marks because they don't have a lot of the guys that were returning starters. The Auburndales, the Colbys, the teams that have kind of been in that top tier as well. So it'll be interesting to see what their guys that haven't had that experience do. Marathon and Pittsville have kind of been rebuilding and trying to focus on making playoffs and right on that edge along with us. We've been obviously at the bottom here in the Merrillwood the last couple of years, but you never know year to year the talent, the young guys, how they will step up and embrace their systems. But I think right now the favorite would be Edgar.
How does your team go into those games against those higher elite teams? I know there's sometimes where you're like, oh man, we got to play Edgar.
Yeah,
and they're already defeated.
I think we approached it just like that the past few years.
Yeah,
but
I mean, how tough is that for as a coach to get these guys ready to go for a game like that?
It is. And what do you tell a group of sophomores and freshmen when they look across the field and they look at who You just have to say, I guess it's a process, and all of us as humans don't want to wait for things. but if you can get a kid to buy into look at these guys, they're juniors, they're seniors, and we can if we can be there if you guys trust it and don't quit on it. And kids have to buy into that, and it's really hard for a kid to do that. But we hope that this year's results of some of the kids buying into that and coming back kind of pay off.
Cool. Coach Larry had mentioned Friday's opener. It's a home opener against Loyal. People will be able to watch that broadcast live at ZaleskiSports.com. What has to happen in practice this week, or what are some of those things that you want to accomplish in practice this week to set your guys up for success on Friday night against Loyal?
There are a couple of things we focused on from the scrimmage, some fixes, little things, but also we struggled with some snaps. And if you can't run a play it's a little different in a scrimmage because you get to reset. But in a varsity game, you're wasting time. You're wasting a play. You're ruining a drive if you don't get a snap. And we did some stuff in shotgun and under center this year, or this scrimmage. And some of our shotgun snaps were poor. And so that obviously you can't show how much talent you have in the backfield if your quarterback doesn't get them the ball and they don't get the ball. So that was one of the things. We have to solidify that position and get the most consistent guy there. Defensively, it was a few alignment issues and making sure we're gap sound against Loyal. They have a nice run game and usually kind of play physical and come at you. And so the focus is be responsible defensively, take care of the ball offensively. And then you add special teams to the mix off of a scrimmage, and that could be anywhere from 15 to 20 plays in a game that make a difference as well. So just adding that, and we've been focused on that for 2 weeks now, integrated in our two-a-days, because that could be a game changer for us.
Week 4, you're without Wild Rose in week 4. Are you still looking for a game there? You want to help advertise a look in week 4?
We do have, so I believe it's Labor Day weekend, week 3. We have Ladysmith to sub in for them.
Okay.
Last year we had Ladysmith as well. So we do officially have a win in conference, the Wild Rose game, but Lady Smith, so 1-0, right? But our Lady Smith they come down to us for that week. So, yeah. Otherwise, we're lucky to have all of our opponents on the schedule. I see Rib Lake Prentice on a couple Merriwood teams opened up a scheduled spot late, and they had one of the teams told me they had to travel to Kenosha. They got invited there on a Saturday, I think it was. I don't know if it was Auburndale or Marathon, I think it was, is going down there. So, we complain about going to Melrose, and Kenosha's a little bit different. So.
Yeah, Coach, good luck this year.
Thank you.
And once again, the Abbotsford football team opening on Friday night against the Loyal Greyhounds at Abbotsford. Game time 7 p.m. Coach, good luck on that one and throughout the season.
Thank you.
Abbotsford High School football coach Jake Natmiller joining us on our football coaches program here at Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. We'll come back with Pittsfield High School football coach Jeremy Dorr following these messages.
Bauer & Feind has been based in Marshfield since 1955. And if you're in business that long, you're obviously doing many things right. We always focus on selling world-class products, backing it up with world-class customer support.
Working with Bauer & Feind Business Technologies has been a pleasure. We have staff on call that we can call if we ever have issues, and the printer usability has been really easy, user-friendly.
Give us a call, visit our website. We'd be happy to come in, talk to you. Maybe there's a way we can help you save some money and work more efficiently.
No interest in water sports? Biking not really your thing? Want to add some excitement to your camping trip? Need more fun in your life? Hit the trails with an ATV or side-by-side from Bill's Service Center. At Bill's, your passion is our passion, and you'll find your fun with the latest from Can-Am or Polaris off-road products. When you need more fun, you need Bill's.
Bill's Service Center, where the adventure begins.
Grassland Dairy Products is your match for an exciting new career today. Go to grassland.com to see the opportunities waiting for you. Browse through careers like CDL truck driver, shipping and receiving, line tech, quality assurance, forklift, maintenance tech, inventory associates, and more. Great compensation, weekly pay, and zero premium, company paid health, dental, and life. Apply now at grassland.com or in person at Grassland Dairy Products, Fairground Avenue, just south of Greenwood.
Central Wisconsin Glass is Central Wisconsin's choice for your next new or remodeled shower and bathroom. The experts at Central Wisconsin Glass will effortlessly guide you through the design and installation process. Have the elegant and modern shower and bathroom you've been looking for. Call Central Wisconsin Glass at 715-387-8010. That's 715-387-8010. And Central Wisconsin Glass on Facebook for your residential, commercial, and vehicle glass needs.
The Midstate Technical College Healthcare Simulation Center, in a partnership with Aspirus, is a state-of-the-art interdisciplinary healthcare simulation center. It provides specialized spaces and simulation technology equipped with medium and high-fidelity mannequins and other equipment to create complex healthcare training scenarios. Visit our website at mstc.edu/simcenter.
At Green Bay Preble. Now, Jason Zaleski has another football coach lined up for us. Jason?
Yeah, thank you, Gene. Coach Jeremy Dorr, head coach of the Pittsfield Panthers football team. I've mentioned some of the food they have here. Apparently, we've ate them out of house and home here. The pizza's gone. It's over. Thank you, Larry, for that. So, Coach, we'll talk to you about your upcoming season, but before we do, just remind our audience, how many years you've been coaching football, and then what is it that makes you a football coach?
Well, this is my third year as the head coach for Pittsville. Otherwise, I've been coaching there since 2005. The reason I coach is that's where I went to high school. Got a lot of pride in our program, and after going to college, I wanted to come back and help out Coach Hahn, and just kind of stayed there, and I really enjoy it.
And now, Coach, you mentioned you've been doing this as the head coach for 3 seasons. Tell us about that adjustment for you moving to a head coaching role. What's that been like for you?
Well, you got a lot of added administrative duties, making sure everyone has their physical or alternate year cards in, getting practice set up, making sure all the equipment's there. So that you added on to that, and then with Coach Dennison retiring, we needed someone to take over for the offensive play calling, so I took that over. And then another coach took over for defensive. So just organizing the coaching staff, getting practice set up. And one of the things I didn't know is when you took over as the head coach for varsity high school, you also ended up taking over the youth program. So I supervised that, hiring coaches for that, getting player registration. So that's from 3rd grade up until seniors that kind of in charge of the whole program. And we just recently did our golf outing last Saturday where we booster club. So I also run that too. So when you take over as the head coach of Pittsville, you take over the whole program.
And let's talk about, first of all, your scrimmage from this past week, how that went for you.
Yep, scrimmage went really well. We got a lot of guys who this is their first time playing varsity, but they did a good job. We have a talented group of sophomores. You probably know Dawson Luther from baseball. You know, he's going to be our starting halfback, and he's a heck of an athlete. And then we got a couple guys filling in. We moved Braden Friday to the offensive line, and he's a big, strong kid, and he's going to be our guy. He's going to be our road grader, and got Bradley Neve coming back. A couple other guys moved different positions. Small school, might be playing wide receiver one year, and then the next year we might need you on the line. So we looked sharp. Defensively, Coach Peterson has the boys flying around like always and playing with a lot of hustle.
Any areas that you look upon as real strengths on the ball club this year?
What was that?
Any real strengths on this year's ball
strengths?
club?
Yeah. Our team speed is pretty good this year. Normally, we've only had a couple guys, but we got quite a few guys who have a lot of quickness and athletic ability. Our quarterback is going to be good. Jake Hardner, he started last year, and you can tell this year he's really taken over as a leader. He knows the offense in and out, and he's making a lot of good decisions in practice and the scrimmage, and being a real good leader for us.
Let's talk about the defensive side, how things look over there.
Yep, defensively, we lost Marcus Getzinger. He's one of the best linebackers I feel in the state. He's down playing at lacrosse. So now we got to replace all them tackles. But defensive line-wise, we have a lot of depth there. So we're going to be able to rotate guys in and out. For probably the first time ever, I think we're going to have a starting offensive line and a starting defensive line. So then we can keep them guys fresh and have a heavy rotation there. Our linebackers, we got quick and athletic guys, and then our DBs have been looking good. We had a guy come back out. He didn't play as a sophomore, but he came back out this year, Jamison Krieger, and he's fitting right into a starting role, looking good.
You mentioned coaching overlooking the whole program from 3rd grade up. How important is that for your program to kind of be a little continuity there throughout the years?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things we started doing a few years ago was, our 5th and 6th grade guys, they're running the same plays we run. Junior high, they run the same plays we run. 5th and 6th, they have like different rules for defense you can run, but junior high has been running our defense. So it's nice when they come in, they know the terminology, they know our base defense, they know our base offense. So they're a step ahead than what we have been before. So,
yeah, I know there's some programs where each division almost is separate. By the time they get to be varsity, it's a whole different thing, and they're almost like you're teaching them something new.
Yeah, when you can use the same terminology, run the same plays, then you can add a little bit more. When they get into high school, they know what's expected, so they're ready to go.
Do you, I know we mentioned this with some of the other coaches that came in, do you look back or you get advice from some of those other coaches before you?
Oh, definitely.
Keep in contact with them?
Yep, Coach Hahn, you'll see him on the sideline probably every game because he drives our bus. And, you always look to him every now and then. If he sees something, he'll tell you. And the best thing about Coach Hahn was, he was such a great people person. That's one thing I've tried to learn from him is to get the kids to play hard for you, make them know that you care more about them than just football. Mm-hmm. And then with Coach Dennison, he was always just so organized. My practice plan script is the same one that he had. We just maybe tweak it a little bit, but his organizational skills was really helpful.
Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, let's talk about season opener. This year is at Augusta. Last year they came to your place, and it was a game that took 2 days to finish a year ago because of a lightning delay, and we came back on the field at noon the next day. Talk about how you handle how you approach a season opener, and how you kind of handle this week of practice with your kids leading into the start of the football season.
Well, we practice on Sundays. Normally we don't do that, but when we have a Thursday night game, we like to get that practice in because otherwise you're missing one. Just get everything kind of fine-tuned. Like I've been preaching to the kids, like we haven't started 1-0 for quite a while now, and let's start the season 1-0 and just get it going. They're staying focused. Everyone knows their job, and always never have to question their effort. So we're really getting them focused into, let's go 1-0, start 1-0, and then go from there.
What's going to be the key for your team to be 1-0?
For us to be 1-0, we're going to have to run the ball effectively, which I think we can, and no turnovers. And then defensively, just flying around, stopping the run. They're mostly a run team.
Okay.
They have a couple decent linemen and some good athletes in the backfield, but I think we can match up with them and be another close game like last year. Hopefully we can play it all on Thursday night. We don't want to have to come back on Friday. Something
tells me, knowing your background as a player, that throwing the ball 70 times is not likely for Pittsville football as long as you're the head coach.
Nope. I'm probably an old school guy where I want to ground and pound. If you would have seen our game against Pacelli last year, we ran the same play about 37 times to Dylan Luther ran just a power. If we're going to get 4 or 5 yards on it, I'm going to keep running that play till they stop it. And I think that also, because I always work with the O-line, D-line, so I always kind of tell them, well, small schools, like if you're playing on the offensive line, well, you're going against a defensive lineman. Guess where that guy's probably playing. Right. So you can kind of set the tone for the game. Like, I'm going to make your night not fun.
Coach, let's talk a bit about the number situation, because we do have a number of schools with numbers similar to Pittsville that are losing their 11-man football programs, and you're saying that your numbers are pretty good. If you've got starting offensive and defensive lines that are separate, that's an outstanding for a school of your size. How have you been able to maintain the good numbers in Pittsville?
Well, we got a lot of good support from the parents, and these kids, they want to be out for it. I think we make it fun for them. And, we got a lot of linemen now, but we're also short on, we only have about 5-6 running backs. So it's kind of been a cycle like that. But, we just try to keep them excited.
And the numbers certainly seem to be improving and doing well for you.
Actually, we've been sitting, it seems like every year. First year we were 35, and now we're 37. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for a D7 school, it's pretty good. There's also about 7-8 kids in the high school that they should be all.
That's every school.
Yep.
Can you tell us about your coaching staff for the coming year?
Yep. Chris Salatic, he's back coaching running backs and linebackers. He's been there for forever. Mm-hmm. And then you have Peter Peterson. He's running the defense. Brent Friday is our wide receiver and D-back coach. And then Charlie Hugesteger came and joined this year. He's helping me with the O-line and D-line.
I do want to mention also that last week, had a nice long talk with Coach Knott about taking over the girls basketball coaching program. What does that mean for a coach when your district administrator is also a coach, knowing that he's really sports-minded and that athletics is important to him as he operates the school district? Yep, I've had plenty of conversations with Mr. Knott. He's got a great sports mind. He loves sports. He knows how important sports is in a school community. And, he's going to do a great job as the girls basketball coach. And it's always nice kind of to bounce stuff off him, because he knows when he was at Evansville, he was friends with the head coaches there. So it's kind of nice to be able to bounce stuff off him, get tips, advice. All right. Well, Coach, good luck on this season. Once again, the Panthers open play Thursday evening at Augusta. Game time 7 p.m. Good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
Yep. Thank you.
Pittsfield High School football coach Jeremy Dorr joining us on our high school football coaches program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Coming up next, Auburndale football coach Jay Anderson. So please stay with us coming up following these messages.
Tonight's game brought to you courtesy of our broadcast
Chili
equipment.
Implement, located just west of Marshfield in Chili, is your Kubota dealer in central Wisconsin. Big or small, Chili Implement has all the best equipment waiting for you. From farm tractors to lawn care, plus work and have fun in a Kubota side-by-side. Choose Chili Implement for your parts and service too. Chili Implement, open Monday through Saturday to serve you and 24/7 online at chiliimplement.com.
We know how a bank should be at Partners Bank. Banking should be easier. Treating our customers as valued and important. Services should be better with online and mobile banking and locations close to where you live and work. Loans should be quicker, and we make all decisions locally with years of experience helping people with their financing needs. Partners Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Partners Bank, better together.
Wondering what to feed your team after work, the game, or this weekend? Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids has tasty, char-broiled burgers for any hungry appetite. From the classic hamburger to the famous Chips Champ and everything in between, check out our daily specials. Stop inside to enjoy your meal with comfortable seating. See our complete menu of burgers, hot ham and cheese, hot beef, chicken and fish, fries, rings, curds, and ice cream served year-round. In a hurry? Same great menu in the drive-thru. Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids.
Save during the summer tire event at Sherrill Tire and Service Centers. Up to $150 back on a select set of 4 Goodyear tires. Buy online or mail-in rebate when you use the Goodyear credit card through June 30th at Sherrill Tire and Service Centers. Find your location at SherrillTire.com.
At the Granite Shop, we take great pride in what we do. We offer high-quality natural stone granite as well as a huge selection of man-made stone. With full slabs as well as a variety of partial remnants, you'll have no problem finding the stone that was meant for you. Our high-end, high-quality granite, quartz, and marble is perfect for any kitchen, bathroom, or remodel need. We are locally owned and operated on County Road C near Stratford. We service all of Wisconsin.
Central Avenue in Marshfield. Larry Hazer and Jason Zaleski joining us on our program as well. And now, Jason, going to turn things over to you to introduce our next guest.
Thank you, Gene. We're going to talk to Auburndale head football coach Jay Anderson. Jay, as we start things off here, just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football at Auburndale, and then what keeps you coming back every year? What is it about coaching and Jay Anderson?
It's 2 stints. I honestly am not even sure. Time goes so fast. I'd say my first one was 7 years, and I went to UW-Stevens Point and coached football, and then came back. I think it was 2017. This will be the 6th year, so I guess 13th year. Football, I've had a background on coaching, I guess, quite a bit for my family, and I think years ago thought maybe it would be a basketball thing, and just football is really intriguing. There's so many different areas of it, position-wise, special teams, defense. It just always really got me as far as, getting everything to work together, all those pieces and flowing together, I think is something that is always bringing me back and enjoying football in itself in that way.
Can you fill us in on your scrimmage this weekend, how things went for you?
Went good. It's the first one in a while. I'm not, 2018, maybe the last one, and I've never really been keen on them because of the injury possibility, and we've had some. But knowing that we did have a lot of spots open from loss of graduation, thought that this kind of could get us back to finding some of those answers. And one of the last times it really did work for our favor as far as having that scrimmage and lining up some kids and finding out there's different combos, and we had to move some kids around. It really helped our season. So kind of thinking that again, it really didn't happen that way. The kids that we had in those spots, you know, created some competition with others, but it seems like we had the kids in the right spot. Really happy with the scrimmage. I don't want to say, you know, pleasantly surprised or wasn't too surprised. It was just really happy with the way things went. Our guys came out pretty focused, played hard, and did a nice job. And it's just really something to get done with that, watch film, and kind of looked at and said, okay, there's some mistakes here yet. So we still have a lot of growth to do, and we had a nice scrimmage, and there's more improvement, as you know, expect early in the season like this.
Well, what kind of thoughts do you have on the ball club for this year?
How many out?
What kind of thoughts do you have about the ball club?
We have 41.
Okay. What kind of thoughts do you have about?
Thoughts, I say. So what kind of thoughts in this team? Well, I don't know. You know, it's really with a group that we had graduate last year. It really took a lot. You know, their sophomore, they did a lot of the fill it in, some starting, and then it really took over as far as junior class. We only had 3 seniors, I think, that year, and then so much experience. So what I really wanted to see who was going to step up in that leadership role, because we've had these guys, and we do have kids that are stepping up. Really happy with the energy, and it's kind of just transitioning into the next group. Same type of expectations, leadership, joy. These kids are really ready to play football, and the players can change, and maybe some of the abilities or strengths, and we just have to find our strengths right now, minimize our weaknesses, and really keep working and moving forward. So I'm happy with where we're at and the kids that we have.
Any key returners you got coming back this year?
Oh, we have 3, I think, full-time starters back on both sides of the ball. We have Caden Anderson at linebacker, is doing a really nice job, a nice player for us. Blake Rabb is a 2-year start. He's just a junior. This will be his 3rd year. And then Evan Scholl at safety and at running back. So we have good experience there. In the offensive line, we returned just 1, Asa Sapi, but we also have Greg Brumand, who has been a spot starter for the last 2 years. So he has experience there. Aiden Cherney's returning at wide receiver also, and then Evan Scholl at running back. So we have some nice players there. There really are some good players, and we're filling in with some mix of seniors, juniors, and some sophomores filling in across both sides of the ball. So we're returning. Our kickers are returning. Aiden Cherney did a heck of a job last year, and we have actually some challenge there. We have some people that are going to challenge him. Mm-hmm. It's not very often we have 3 kickers that could very well do the job as far as extra points, field goals, kicking off as strong as ever. It's sometimes with us, it's tough to find one, and we have 3 kids that can do it. So we'll be experienced there also, which is nice.
You've developed in recent years, Coach, some real good receivers that have some very impressive statistics. How about that part of your ball club for this coming year?
Well, we don't have the length that we did, but we do have some quickness again. And some speed and athletes there. Aiden Cherney, Blake Rabb, Nathan Richardson, Keegan Empey, and Mason Meisner should be challenging there. So it's not quite that length, you know, having Alex Wilford and Lucas Yeski and having Tim Schmidt, you know, those are some big targets and long, lengthy guys. So we don't have that, but we're going to have some quick receivers. We're going to have some nice balance there. As far as developing that, you know, I don't know if it's something that, you know, a lot of them happen to be basketball players, I guess. You know, grow up, you know, playing basketball and catching the ball and having that eye-hand coordination, if that's what it is, or a lot of the running and jumping, but that's where it seems to tend to come from as far as that basketball player and turns into those receivers. So I'm thinking all those guys, and I think all of them are basketball players, so I think that must tie into it. It can't be just a coincidence. I guess Nathan Richardson isn't, but the rest of them are basketball players.
You talked about 41 kids out in your program. That's got to be nice for a smaller school like you to have that many players to choose from, so to speak, when you have all these kids that graduated over the years.
Absolutely. To get up into that 40 range, and we keep trying to expand that and do our recruiting in the off season. So it is very important for us, and I do believe we have a couple of injuries, so our number's actually at 43. We have, I think, 41 that are kind of active right now. And to have those numbers, competition, of course, having each position being pretty well stocked and keep developing. The big thing, in my opinion, is being able to play JV and possibly slide some JV too, what we call now. So when we can get games, and last year we had 3 levels playing last year, and that is so important. Where we're struggling to get a JV 3-4 years ago, it's not varsity people going back and forth, and we can get in a situation to have these kids playing that much and getting that kind of experience is so important. Get them on the field and get them playing.
Coach, the way that you ended the year last year, I thought was really good. You had one loss in the regular season. You get a home playoff game and then a home playoff win. Those are some of those boxes you check off of your preseason kind of goals and things you wanted to accomplish during the season. And then you played Mondovi right to the end, a team that eventually went to a state championship game. Those guys that are coming back this year, how do you help them kind of recall those moments and bring it into this year?
Well, you're right. I have done that. I have tried to recall that and just try to remind them the last time being on that football field and use that in a positive way. Learn from it, use it to motivate, and how much that stung, how much that hurt, and I know it did with everybody. Not only these guys returning, losing the game, but I know the relationship with those graduating seniors, and to put them in their shoes, and understand how much that does sting. So we have talked about that, and you never want to dwell on things, but you remind them and try to use that as motivation to be able to keep battling, keep fighting, and that's, you're exactly right. That was a good team. We had a good game, and for a team to go that far, to know that there really was a few plays we were able to make or execute, and you never know, and get these kids to come back and keep the program moving forward, and put ourselves in those big games. To be able to experience that again is important.
You mentioned, I was going to ask you this before, you have the 41 kids out. Are there any kids that you see walking around that are not out for football, that you would like to see out for football? Or
yes and no. There's some kids that there's definitely would like to, and there's some kids that I think have in the past, but it's not in them. They're not interested, so I don't really dwell on that.
Okay.
With their athleticism, size, and what they can be, if they were interested, we like it, but that's the tough thing too, that we have the kids, but trying them to get them to fit or to love it as much as the rest do, that's a lot involved too. But yeah, when you start looking at the body type and the size or athleticism, you see a kid doing this, that definitely happens. But really try to get kids in that are going to be motivating themselves, and we encourage when we get their attention, they show up, and it's okay. That's the first step. But yeah, it's tough. I think we have the kids that are meant to be out, and I've always said to the kids for years, when people get done and I see them after high school, I get an awful lot. I really wish I would have been out. And more times than not, it comes down to football. I wish I would have played football.
Really?
There's not another substitute for that. There's softball, it's a cheap substitute for baseball. There's going to be basketball tournaments, alumni, wrestling. There's cross country. There isn't football anymore.
No.
There isn't anything. So I think that's what some people find out that they're missing out on. But that's what I hear a lot. I wish I would have been out.
No.
And you've mentioned to me that in your particular school, recruiting for football is almost a full-time job for you. You really need to work hard to get kids out in your program.
Yeah, we really do. We always put it in their mind, and once if it piques their interest, we'll continue with that. And there's some you can tell right away, it's just nope, not interested, and for whatever reason. We have a very wide school district. Some can't get transportation in. Some have to find a job or work. And once we get their interest, and I have a principal, Mr. Steve Van Wy, who also is really in kids' ears and helping out with that too, as far as he's an assistant football coach with me, and we do have our assistant coaches that get into these kids and ask them also, which is very nice. So I don't have to do all that, but yes, we really do kind of go around and get that kid in the weight room a little bit, and then say, hey, why don't you see if you give football a try? But a lot of times it starts in that weight room too, and they get the kid in there, and then you're able to get plant that seed. So.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming by and joining us on our program. Your first ball game Friday night with Whitefish Bay Dominican. So congratulations. Good luck.
Bad news on that.
Oh, what's that?
This afternoon, I got an email that they can't play that game.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
So we ended up early afternoon. I was able to pick up a week 2 game against Bigfoot. They're coming up from down there for a week 2 game, and about an hour and a half later, I got an email that the week 1 opponent can't make it. So we gained 1 and lost 1, all in the afternoon. So those ups and downs, and I don't know if we'll be able to find somebody, but we've been looking, and there's only a couple schools, and one is definitely we're not going to play, so they're open. It's a school called Kimberly. That was a no-go. And then there's Division 5 and I think a 4 down in Milwaukee Conference, and send out an email and be able to check that out.
Well, good luck finding somebody. Hope you get to play on Friday night.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you. Auburndale High School football coach Jay Anderson joining us on our football coaches preview program from Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. And more of our program coming up in just a moment.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken. How can
High
I
school
help you?
sports is being brought to you courtesy of our broadcaster club members, including Country Wireless, high-speed internet. We bring the internet to you, whether rural, business, or residential. Get details at countrywireless.com. Next Home Hub City, Marshfield. Stephanie Spaeth, owner-agent, founded on ethical principles, serving your real estate needs. Orange is the new soul. And courtesy Auto and Truck Center Stanley, your Ford store, with a selection of new Fords and pre-owned trucks to fit any budget.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken. How can I help you?
The Marshfield Tiger Booster Club congratulates former Tigers who wrestled this season at the NCAA Division III National Championships.
Good day.
Nolan
My name is
Hurdle
Ken
won the
Hyman.
national
Welcome
title
to
at 157
Nathan
for
Here
UW
in Central
Lacrosse,
Wisconsin,
finishing the year
Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of
36-2.
We make a lot of different cheeses. We make
The Sports Den, located on Marshfield's sunny south side since 1975. The Sports Den has the area's best selection of outdoor equipment. Find top brands of snowshoes, cross-country and downhill skis, snowboards, swimming equipment, skateboards, and more. The Sports Den has a full-service bike repair center along with top bike brands, Specialized, Trek, and others. The Sports Den is Central Wisconsin's fat bike headquarters. Visit the Sports Den in Marshfield Monday through Saturday and thesportsden.net.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in Central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Fear, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflateri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.
For over 50 years, the Dental Clinic of Marshfield has served the area with the talent and expertise of big city dentistry with a hometown feel. With our multi-specialty staff and board-certified periodontist, orthodontist, and pediatric dentist, Dental Clinic of Marshfield has solutions for our patients of all ages from 1 to 100. We take pride in being in-network with an array of insurance companies to meet the needs of our community and our patients. No matter what your dental need, the Dental Clinic of Marshfield will be there for you.
At Express Employment Professionals, we place people from all walks of life in all kinds of jobs.
Hi, welcome to Express. Please sign in and have a seat.
Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks.
We turn now to the Loyal Greyhounds. head coach Chris Lindner. Coach, before we get started with the season, just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football at Loyal and what keeps you coming back every year.
This is my 30th year coaching, 28 as head at Loyal, and what keeps me coming back? I think a number of things. I think the kids, the great game of football, and our coaching staff, and just watching our kids grow over the years. 4 years with a young man is a long time, but not only to see them grow as a football player, but to see them grow and as a person and character and things like that. And I think what really keeps me going is when you have your alumni come back and you see them somewhere and they come up and talk to you and about the memories, and so that's special, and I cherish that. So I would say that's why I continue.
Well, Coach, how about your scrimmage this past week and how that went for you?
Our scrimmage was all right. We had 6 teams over in Loyal, and we scrimmaged Marathon and Black River Falls. I thought our kids came out and played all right, played with some emotion and played aggressive. We don't always see that in our Loyal squad in the scrimmages, and it was nice to see that. We also had Neilsville, Assumption, and Abbey, so we kind of put 2 halves. They played, and then we played each other, and then if anyone wanted to play after that, they could. And I think the 2 scrimmages were great, and that was it. And we came away healthy, so I would say it was a really good scrimmage. But it was good to see some of the things that we were capable of doing. Obviously, it's a scrimmage, it's a practice. It was nice to go against someone else, but we have some work to do, just like everyone else. And we really talked tonight about the details that we need to really focus on during the next days in practice and as we go through the year.
What kind of thoughts do you have on your ball club for this season?
It's too early. We'll see. I say that a lot, almost 30 years probably. If our kids can stay focused and continue working, I really like to see what the potential, where we can go. We had a rough year last year, and the year before was not exactly where we wanted. But we are working, and we were extremely young the last 2 years, and I can see some of those youngsters now growing up and actually doing some really good things for us. So I'm an adage of, every day we can get a little bit better, and that's our goal. I like where we're going right now. And as long as we stay focused and continue to work hard, I like where we could go. And again, I thought we had an extremely tough tough schedule last year, and this year is the same schedule. So we'll take it one day at a time and one game at a time and see what we can do. But we really stress on the focus, the hard work, and what we've really talked about is leadership and the culture we have at our school, in our football program. I think it's time to bring that winning culture back and that togetherness. And I say winning, and I don't mean it by winning that way. I mean just being together and fighting for one another, and not being a selfish culture. So I think that's something that we've strived for and really worked at here in the last handful of months.
How about some key men back on your ball club this year?
So Louis Nicolai, he was a running back and a safety for us last year. He's a senior. We kind of flow as Louis flows. He's kind of our energy, and I thought he had a pretty darn good season last year on a not really too good of a team. But I like his energy, and his leadership is something that we are working with him, and that's growing. Other players, Dane Luchterhan and Hudson Hansen, played guards and middle linebacker and a D tackle. We are needing big things out of them as seniors. And those are our main seniors. We have Peyton Farmer as a senior that has been dinged up, but we are looking, hopefully he can get healthy and get back with us where he is contributing. Junior-wise, Trin Shale. Trin had a nice scrimmage. Seems like he's worked hard and has raised the bar of his play. So we are expecting good things out of him. He's a running back and an inside linebacker also. Rogan Ashbeck has done a nice job and has built his standard up higher. And we didn't know exactly where he would be this coming into the year, but he had a nice scrimmage and is working at good things there. So Parker Smith is limited right now. He had a good year last year also. So he's one that we are counting on, but this will be a process with him, getting him back into the lineup. And we had some young kids as freshmen playing, like Kane Tofar, played end both ways. Expecting, as a sophomore, we're expecting a lot out of him. Reed Stiglitz will be stepping up at quarterback and in a rotation in the secondary. Expecting a lot from him. Expectations are high. Eli Zettler was our quarterback last year. Moved him to a wing position, running back position, and a secondary. So he's done well in the off season, and we're looking for some good things out of him.
Coach, you're not a coach who throws the ball around the lot 60 times a night. So I want to
Did you say 6?
60. Even 6 is some nights is like, but the quarterback's still a key role, key position for your team, the way he runs the offense. What do you, in an offense where you don't throw the ball a whole lot, what do you look for in a good quarterback in your ball club?
Leadership, athletic, hard worker, and smart. So that is something that we are working on because of Reed's athletic ability, trying to open it up a little bit more and pass the ball a little bit more than 6 times a game. All right, so maybe 10, 12, something like that, 15. Not the word of situation that you have to, but that is in our scheme. That is what we want to do, and I think he can serve that purpose. He is a very smart, athletic young man. Young as a sophomore, but we're working on his leadership also. But like I said, I think he has the capability of doing well at quarterback position.
How important is that? Sorry.
Go ahead, Larry. Please go ahead.
How important is that sophomore class to Loyal? I know my son's a sophomore at Neilsville, and he's been around these guys for several years now, and I know that Loyal's got a pretty big sophomore class and an athletic class. How important is that class now coming up through this football program?
I think it's I wouldn't say they're the end all, but I think they have a big contribution in getting our program back to where it was. I said we have really 3 seniors right now, and then a lot of underclassmen. So between our sophomores and our freshmen, those are our big numbers for football, and that's what we're kind of counting on to kind of reestablish some things. And we're not waiting for next year. We're trying to get those established this year, and do some things with them this season. But they definitely add depth if they're not on the field, but the majority of them are on the field. So to mix them with our juniors is a good thing. I just wish we had more seniors. Yeah. I know you talk to Jay about are there kids walking the halls that should be playing football? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But like I tell our guys, you're the ones that have committed. You're the special people that come out and are out for this unbelievable sport.
Right.
So if we can't get them, then we're not going to lose sleep over them. We'll just move forward. So.
Coach, it's week 1 at Abbotsford on Friday, a game featured on Zaleski Sports. We talked to Coach Jake Netmiller earlier today. He lamented on his numbers, but yet if you ask him, he's going to tell you he's got a really fast team, especially at the skill position. What's the work this week as you take a look at a team like Abbotsford?
We watched them scrimmage. We were sitting out on the one where we got to watch them at least scrimmage once. I watched one play where the back made 6 to 7 guys miss. It was a 10-yard gain, but he ran 30 yards, and it was unbelievable. What do we have to do? We have to do our job, and that's what we preached for the last 2 weeks. Do your job. Don't get fancy, and we need to try to corral them and don't let them get out where they can move and run. And he's right. They're quick and they're physical. They're not as big as they have been, but whatever they took from size, they added in quickness. And so I thought we were decently physicalness in the scrimmage, had a good physical presence on our defense. We need that plus 10. So we need to really become unselfish and do our job, do our role, do our job, and then gang tackle. All right? So it's going to be a tough task just because from what I saw was, and he had a good season last year. So, or they did. So we need to corral them and work as a team.
Through 2 weeks of practice and now into week 3, including your scrimmage, all those events were on your home field. Now on the road in week 1, what do you do differently for your guys to help them adjust, especially when it's the first game and that's the first time we're heading out of town?
Good question. I think we keep it as relaxed as we can and that's what we did the other day at the scrimmage was just, this is a game. This is not a game. Just relax, all right? And we're going to have kind of the same MO of just relax and play. Do not be so tight that if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Let's move forward and just play aggressive. So magic with that is just have them prepared and have them confident that, hey, we're going in and we're going to compete and do what we can do. So,
how do you see that CWC small shaping up this year? I see Assumption looks like the team to beat, and they were up at that scrimmage as well.
Yeah. Well, when we finally get to the conference games, I think it's a good conference, and I think you need to be ready to play. I think there was a couple games last year that I think we played with teams. I would say like Iola and Pacelli, and we did not play our best. And you need to be ready, and you need to play every game, every down, all out. And I think staying healthy with a lot of teams is going to be an issue. It could be, it takes some of these teams, which we were for the last couple of years, 22, 23, 24 kids, you lose 1, 2 kids that are decent kids, then that puts a hole in it. Now you're back to your freshman playing, and it doesn't always work real well. So we just prepare 1 week at a time and know that I think our non-conference schedule is kind of prepped us for a tough league. So not that we had a lot of choice in all those games, but it is what it is. And like I said, it'll prep us good for our conference foes.
All right. All right, well, Coach, thanks for coming by. Once again, the Greyhounds open play Friday night at Abbotsford. Good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Loyal High School football coach Chris Linder joining us on our high school football coaches program at Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Back after these messages.
High school sports is being brought to you courtesy of our broadcaster club members, including the Sports Den, South Central Avenue, Marshfield, Bike, board, ski, explore, and accessorize.
Really got to understand what a nurse is. Do they focus on you? You know, do they make sure that you're comfortable? And, you know, that's what Shai has. It's the connection that he has, you know, my best interest in mind, always.
Why wait another day? Let's take the next step together towards a better life.
I had an employee at once ask me to prioritize family, faith, and business, and I put them in that order in particular. For each one of our employees, it's family first. You do what is best for you and your family. Then the rest of it will take care of itself. It's about making sure you make the best decisions for you and your family.
Football Coaches program on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com, along with Jason Zaleski and Larry Hazer. I'm Gene Delisio. Once again, Larry, your first broadcast Friday night, the Neilsville Granton Ball Club against a very strong Colby squad in Neilsville.
It should be interesting, I think, to see Neilsville this year because there's a lot of positive attitude in that program this year. They have to replace some linemen, but they've been finagling. I know some of the coaches have been talking about moving. One player was a different position one year, and now they're a different position this year. Neilsville Granton's going to have some of that, but I think they've moved them, from what I can tell, to spots that I think are going to help the team, and I think they got all their skill positions back from last year, quarterback, running backs, receivers. So I'm looking for a pretty good game. We got the pregame going at 6:35, broadcast at 7 Friday night.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. And on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, football Thursday night, Marshfield Tigers at Hudson, game time 7 p.m. That broadcast 6:30 on Thursday evening on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and WOSQFM.com. Once again, thanks for joining us for our high school football coaches program for this year here on WOSQ and also on ZaleskiSports.com. For Larry Hazer and Jason Zaleski, I'm Gene Delisio. Thanks for joining us and have a good evening.
High school sports is being brought to you courtesy of our broadcast.